You're listening to M.T.V.B podcast. Movies, TV, video and board games. This show may contain swearing.
Hello, welcome to a brand new episode of the M.T.V.B podcast, the podcast that talks about my four favourite subjects, that's movies,
TV shows,
video games,
and board games. I'm your host, Anthony, as well as most people know me as the Ant-Man, and welcome this week's episode. Have we not done this episode yet, Gal? You know,
yeah, it's true.
7 seasons and we have not done this yet. It's going to be our top 5 movie remakes of all time. I'm joined around the table by the guys that love to talk about movie remakes. First off, we've got
Gal, aka Grey Fox.
Gay Fox, how are you, sir?
I'm alright, actually. How are you guys?
And the man with 2 lists, as always, Howard H. How are you, sir?
I'm absolutely fine, Anthony. Thank you for having me back so soon.
And so soon, and the first time on a movie episode, right?
Yes,
I think it is. Yeah,
television. Yeah,
a couple of video games.
Couple of video games, and now movies.
Finally got
I've
you
got
on
a
a
new
movie.
name for Howard. 2 list Howard.
2 list Howard.
Howard 2 lists.
No.
2 list H. Yeah, we'll take it. But how are you guys? Thank you for coming on the show and doing this episode for us.
No,
Pleasure.
Thank you.
No, all good. Thank you.
Nice, thank you. So, top 5 remakes of all time. So, how hard was this list for you guys?
It was okay, actually. It's quite surprising to find out a lot of films are remakes of like older generation films, like the 90s, 50s, which quite surprised me.
Oh, someone's been doing their research. Check you out.
But yeah, I'm fairly, doable list. I'm
Yeah.
happy. I'm happy with my list.
Well, Anthony set the criteria for this one, and he said, "Can you please not include certain subjects?" And I was like, "Damn," because
Yes.
literally all of my list was this particular theme.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
It's so difficult to think. I thought, oh no, yeah, it's a remake, but it's that genre. It's the same genre. So difficult at first, yeah, because I'm a big fan of that genre.
Okay.
But yeah, when you delve deeper, same as Gal, but when you look into it and you think, oh, actually, yeah, when you think about it, that film is a remake of that other film, but without even realising.
Yeah, big time.
So
There's
yeah,
some-
a couple of surprises on this one.
There's some that shocked me, which is not on my list. I was like, "Well, that was a remake." Like,
We'll bring up in the honourable
Yeah.
mentions and we can educate some people on it as
Yeah.
well. So, obviously, a few questions before we do the top 5s. Movie remakes, are you guys fans of them at all? Do you mind sitting through them? Or do you like, when the trailer comes up, you're like, oh, not another remake?
I think, myself, I'm instantly sceptical because if it's something that you have grown up with or you love or it's something close to your heart, and then you see that they've remade it, it's human nature to instantly grimace and go, oh, yeah, another remake. But there are remakes out there that do surprise you, and some surpass the originals.
Okay.
I will watch them regardless.
Right.
And then pan them afterwards.
Nice. That's the right answer.
I think when you initially say remake, you're like, "Oh, you're excited," just like what you said, and then then when it comes out, it's just pile of wank, and you're like, "Oh, why did they even bother?" But there are some where that's they're still locked away, they haven't been touched, and obviously quite recently some of them are being done and to good standards and really really good. But there's some still hidden ones locked away where you're like, when are they going to do that one or sort of thing,
Yeah, okay. So you're not dead against them. You're willing to give them a chance and see what comes out of it.
Depends if it's coming from a certain company. Then I'm like, no, I know what you're going to do. So I'm not going to go into it, but yeah. I'm a
the House of Mouse.
But saying that, I'm a hypocrite. I've got one in there, so, and it's truly is. I thought it was really good.
Okay. So if they decide to make a remake of one of your favourite movies, are you going to be, obviously you'll be such a big fan of the original, would you be straight up no thanks, stick with the original, or would you be willing to give the remake a chance?
I'll tell you what, the recent, I'll call it a reboot or a remake. It's not so when you say remake, does it, like, can you involve the recent Transformers? Is that remake technically?
So let's say all of a sudden Universal Pictures says, right, we're not going to do Back to the Future 4, we're going to start again completely.
Okay.
And doing a full-on remake of the original classic.
So technically then...
Which is a movie you love, obviously, isn't it? So would you be like, no, I'm going to stick with the original, or would you be willing to go to the movies, give it a shot and see what it's like?
I would, because
it's a movie that's quite personal to you, like one of your favourites or something.
It's like, for me, the original Transformers was really good for me. And obviously the reboot or the remake, recent one, The Beast... It's I was dead against it, but I still went out and saw it. So
is it a remake? I thought
this is what I was trying to get at. Is that it's obviously it's redone?
I haven't seen it, but it feels like a reboot.
Right, okay.
That's what I'm saying. Is that two different things? Reboot and remake.
Yeah, like a reboot is like a complete restart of the franchise, isn't it? Whereas a remake is literally
the same story,
the same same thing. Like I won't go into it with other movies, but you'll be like, right, this is the part where this happens, and because you know it's coming because it's a remake, isn't it?
Okay, cool. But yeah, both reboot, remake. I'll get against it, and my inner thing would be like, I really do like that film. I want to see what they've done and go watch it.
Okay, interesting. Howard?
No, I agree with Gal. I think recently the only acceptable form of how can I quantify this? So let's take Marvel films in particular.
Sure.
Spider-Man. So you got Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, and you had Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. Each time it was a remake / reboot, and it kept going. And then Marvel had this fantastical idea of creating the multiverse within their own, the MCU, and then making it all acceptable, saying, well, no, actually, it's not a reboot, it's not a remake, it's just an alternate version of that story. Smart, very smart, yeah. So, I mean, like Gail says about Transformers, I don't know, I think you should accept what they've done, and then you can have your opinion. So yeah, like you say, the trailer drops. You can either instantly.
It's a mix of emotions when you see it. And you're like,
it's something new on the same subject, and you want to see more of it. But then you think, wow, but the original was just so great. How can they top it? Yeah,
exactly.
It's a mix of emotions,
and then when it comes out, just moments before, I'm going to watch it. Just fuck it, I'm going to watch it. There's mixtures of a roller coaster ride until you actually come see it. And unless you know certified that it's good pile of wank, I won't see it. But it's just a mixture of emotions.
Nice. Going back to what Howard said earlier on about certain movies in the top list. So obviously a majority of remakes nowadays are horror films. This is what I said to you guys earlier on before we did this episode. If you can try not to put too many horror movies in your list, because obviously we can try and do a separate episode for that of just horror movie remakes. What do you think of the futures for other genres for remakes? Do you think they can still knock out the park with other remakes, or just let's just stick with horror because it's obviously that's what's making the money at the moment?
I think there is essentially you when you do remakes of right now you're seeing take Halloween for example. It's just Halloween the brand is being going on, but if I don't know if they have actually done a first remake of the original.
Rob Zombie did one.
Yes, he did. You're right. Yeah. You're on the money. Yes, he did.
The thing about Halloween is very interesting. You should pick that one. That fans and critics are now classifying the Halloween films into at least 2 or 3 different sort of universes, if you like. You got the original 2, created by John Carpenter. And then there is the Rob Zombie films, and then there's the H2O universe, and then there's the recent Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends. They're all being considered. So that I think that falls into the category of a reboot as opposed to as a remake. The Rob Zombies were remakes. Everything else with Jamie Lee Curtis is kind of like a reboot because they're accepting the mythos of Michael Myers. And
but then they're saying certain sequels don't count.
Certain sequels don't count. Yeah, exactly. Or do they count? Or don't they count? So I think when it comes to remakes, if the idea is solid and people want it and they do it really, really well, go for it. It doesn't matter what genre it is, whether it's action, whether it's science fiction, whether it's fantasy, whether it's romance, comedy, doesn't matter. Do it well. But my philosophy on it is this. I'm very heavily into my music, have been for forever. And when somebody remakes a song, releases it in their own way, I think if that song is faithful but completely different, but still brilliant, then you're onto a winner. And the film should be the same. It's the same story. It's the same characters with the same name. Just put your own spin on it. Don't just remake it scene for scene. Don't include the same gags and the same special effects, etc.
Modernise it a little bit, I guess.
Yeah, put your own spin on it. And it has been done. It has been done.
Yeah.
I think for me, that's what a good remake should do. It should remake the story, but just make it completely bizarrely different.
Yeah. Put your own little spin on it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Unlike that horrible fucking shot-for-shot remake of Psycho. Jesus Christ. What were they thinking?
Well, that's a good example. Why?
Yeah.
I mean, Hitchcock got it on point. There was absolutely no need to touch that film.
But again,
Let's do it in colour.
Yeah.
If it was your, one of your favorite films, you're gonna go still see it regardless, right?
You will.
Well, now, do you have a movie in mind or a favourite movie that you might think would be a good remake for the new generation?
There is one, but I think it's being made. One of my favorite old times.
Okay.
But again, I don't want to mention it because it's a remake.
Is it on your list?
No, it's not on my list. But I don't know if you guys have got it.
I probably won't have it if it's anything to do with your list.
Wow, that's a really good. I'm going to have to come back to that one.
All right. One of mine is a movie, an 80s movie I've always wanted to get remade for a new generation. I'm not sure if you've heard of it or how would possibly you, but it's a movie, a 1986 movie called The Monster Squad.
Love
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
Right. What is one of my favourites.
Right.
I'd watch it, would you?
Yeah, so it's essentially the Goonies with Universal monsters.
that's it, yeah.
Being a horror fan, love horrible monsters.
What's a squad?
That would be, yes, exactly. That would be, I think it'd make a fantastic remake for a new generation.
I love that version, but I think I understand what you mean. A new version of that would absolutely.
Yes,
Yeah,
definitely,
yeah,
absolutely. But they've got all sorts of up to date gizmos and gadgets now and all that sort of stuff. Just a bunch of kids.
Yeah.
It still has to have the adult theme to it because that's what what the movie was great. It was still like a 15, 18 rated movie, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But it had kids in it hunting monsters. It's like, come on,
I
man.
think if a kid watched that, they would enjoy it, not get a lot of it. But yeah, it's the teenagers and the adults who are like, there's a few in-jokes or naughty little games.
Exactly, yeah. If they can do like sort of saying the Charisma as like It Chapter 1 remake was, but with that and Monster Squad, I think it would work straight out. I think it'd be a fantastic movie to be remade. Come on, Gal, what was yours?
Just say it, and we will have no emotion.
We can't say it anyway. We'll say it on the top five if it's on us.
The thing.
Okay.
It's one of my favorite films of all time, but it's in the process of being remade.
Yes.
So that's why I was like, well,
Blumhouse is meant to be doing, isn't it? Yeah.
So I've been waiting for a remake. Well, we got a prequel.
Yeah, but the prequel was a remake, wasn't it? It was the same story.
Yeah.
Wasn't it?
Yeah,
Have I got that wrong?
I haven't seen the original. I've seen
The Thing from Another World.
Yeah, because apparently that's the remake.
Well, yes,
John
it is.
Carpenter-
Yeah. So John Carpenter's The Thing is
a remake.
Has taken the idea of the original Thing from Another World and turned it into something even better. So that's a good example of surpassing the original. Taking that idea and making it absolutely outstanding.
Yeah. So
and it's more closer to the book of who goes there, wasn't it?
I believe so. Yeah.
And then obviously I was waiting a long time for a remake because I love that game. That's the film. Sorry, it's so the whole setting, the whole that we'd play our board games around that.
Yeah, absolutely. So how we started it, really, wasn't it? Yeah.
So yeah, I can't wait to see. Obviously, when they release the trailer, I get it's going to be emotions are going to be no, I'm not watching this. Oh no, they're going to ruin it, And then I'll go and see it, and then I'll be like, yes, it's good, or fucking hell, they should have just left it alone.
Only time will tell.
Yeah.
I'm out of questions, guys. Obviously, Howard, we'll come back to you with that question if you can think of one for a new generation.
I will think of
anyone else want to throw anything? If not, we'll go straight to the top fives.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it then.
It's time for a top five.
Now, obviously, I've said to you to put not too many horror films into this one because we'll do it for a different list, a different episode. You can have a couple of them if you want to. And obviously, we have an endless list and supply of movie remakes. We've even done our homework for this episode, guys. But if we do not mention yours, you should have been on this episode or get your own fucking podcast. Number 5.
Number 5.
Right, let's roll the dice and see who goes first, yeah? Oh. 19. I think I've won this, guys. So was it 13?
Lucky 13.
Come on, G. 20 to beat me. Get the Hellfire symbol. 3. Right, looks like I'm going first. Right. Going clockwise for me. Oh, what is my number 5? Right, my number 5 is is possibly one of my favourite gangster movies of all time as well. And I've gone for Scarface with Al Pacino.
That was one where I was looking into. I was like, that's a remake?
That's
I was
a remake,
well surprised.
yeah.
I was like,
Funny enough, directed by Howard Hawks, who did Thing from Another World.
Ah.
So the original is from 1932.
And it's called Scarface as well.
And it's called Scarface as well.
Same storyline, same setup.
I'm not quite sure about the same storyline or anything like that, but growing up, I got into gangster movies very late in my life and kind of caught up with it, because at the time when I was getting into my movie passion, like Lock, Stock and Snatch and all that out, and I was kind of bored with the whole typical British gangster thing, you know. I don't mind them, don't get me wrong, they're great movies, but I wanted something more out of it. So when I found out there was Goodfellas and what's the other ones?
The Godfather.
Oh, yes, sorry, Godfather and whatnot. And then Scarface came along. And obviously, it's done in the 80s, which is right up my street. Kick-ass soundtrack, very good director as well. Al Pacino, again, you know, an Italian played a Cuban. It works. It's just a really fantastic movie, great, fantastic movie. And probably, yeah, I'm going to say it now, is my favourite gangster movie of all time.
Yeah, I would say that, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just... It's probably like one of the best drug dealer movies ever made as well, if you think about it.
I think, like, when I... Sorry, go on.
No, finish.
Like, well, I didn't realise how popular the film was when I watched it.
No, that's the same with me.
So,
because everyone knows the whole "say hello to my little friend" line.
Yeah, I didn't know all that.
But yeah, right, you didn't know it
I didn't know nothing. So
right.
I was just like, what is... So I'm watching it, you know, probably, like, late teens, and I'm watching it, and everyone's recommended it. I was like, okay, I'm going to watch it. And I was like, oh, I don't know, what's the whole hype? And then the bathroom scene, I was like, oh.
With the chainsaw, right?
I was like, oh, okay. And then from that moment, it's just like, oh, okay, this is... I see what people.
It's such a great.
I haven't seen anything like that.
But it's such a great rise to working class up to, you know, fucking epic class, to be honest. Being you know, major drug dealer with a mansion and.
It's a game I think heavily influenced GTA.
Oh, 100%, and Vice City. You can see that 100%. So Vice City is practically Tony Montana. Yeah. I'm not quite sure if they got the same sort of idea from what's his name. Oh, what's that other Mexican drug dealer guy? What's he called?
Yeah.
You know what I'm on about.
Yeah. There's a Netflix show.
Yes. What the fuck's he called now?
No. Is it Don?
He's going to fuck the shit out of me now.
Shit.
We'll come back to it anyway. Hey, people listening.
Who's this guy? You fucking El Chapio's his son.
No. Don't worry, we'll come back to it. But no, it just... I really, really, really love this movie. And again, I didn't know it was a remake up until... maybe a few years ago or whatnot. So.
I didn't know until today.
Oh, you didn't know until today? Oh, fair enough. So it's not on your list then. There's not a lot more I can say because I don't want to spoil it too much for you, but it's like I said, it's a typical rise to power, you know, guy who's, you know, starts in poverty, he's coming to the American country being a Cuban, and, you know, immigrants working from up there trying to be a gangster, starts killing people off, starts drug dealing. And then he eventually becomes, like... friends with the cartel and stuff, isn't it? And whatnot. Hence why. He gets. And they get. I think there's that immense scene of him where he's in the car and he has to kill someone. But he's got and he finds out he's got the kid in there as well. He's like, no.
That's where it starts.
And that's what I love about that, because you feel like Tony Montana is just like cold-blooded killer, ruthless. He's got heart, man. It's like, you know, he's like.
And when his mate as well, like. Don't.
When he goes out with his sister,
he says, "Don't
fuck
do it."
Out, does he get angry over that?
It just shows his character is like, this is to him,
big time, mate. Yeah,
don't mess with him, sort of thing.
So yeah, I can't deny it should go in there. And yeah, that's pretty. I can't really say an awful lot about it. Again, great, perfectly directed by Brian De Palma. Fantastic script from Oliver Stone. Again, another fantastic movie director. So yeah, it's a great combo. And apparently, the famous "Say Hello to My Little Friend" scene was directed by Steven Spielberg.
Oh, it's like a cameo director.
Yeah, so basically, him and Brian De Palma are like best mates. There was like a group of him, George Lucas, Francis Ford Coppola, and all that sort of stuff. Friends. And I think at the time, Steven wasn't doing anything. He was like in between movies or editing and whatnot, and he just wanted. I think Brian wanted a break, He said, direct this scene for me. And it's literally just that scene where he's like, hello, say hello to my little friend. The door blows up. That's all Stephen, apparently.
Wow.
So, yeah, I forgot to put the pressure did you know button.
I've got not. Did you know? Me and my cousin almost fell out with this film because we watched it together. We're like that fascinated. You know, when you're kids, you're like, "Oh, it's gangster in it." Like,
Yeah.
So we ordered the special. Like, I ordered the special edition. And he doesn't know about all this stuff. And so, I'm going to order it as well, innit? By the way, a big Indiana fan, so I hate him as well, my cousin. And then when
they hate Indiana Jones.
No, he loves it,
but you hate him.
Hate
Yeah, fuck
He's
you.
a big Indiana. And then he ordered a copy. I ordered a special edition. So both of the copies arrived. And what does he do? He says, "Oh, the special edition is one I ordered." I said, "No, that's obviously back then. You don't, we threw the receipts away straight away, and we're like, no, that's mine." And then we had a massive falling out over that, and he would not give my special edition that I ordered, and I think the special edition was just basic. You get the normal case one, and I think the other one was like 3D or some sort of
like a lentic,
something like that. So,
Pablo Escobar.
Oh, Escobar. Yeah.
I knew I'd get it eventually.
We're close.
Number 5, Scarface.
Nice.
Gee, what's your number 5, sir?
My number 5 is a recent one.
Okay.
And I think this is where I think you might call me a hypocrite. Is from Disney's Jungle Book.
Oh, you hypocrite!
Yeah,
Massive hypocrite. But no, this is
their first sort of
second. It was technically their second.
What was their first one?
Maleficent was their first one.
Oh right, okay, yeah. So this is where I thought, right, this everyone knows Jungle Book, but I really, I really when I watched when I was a kid, I watched the first. I wouldn't say it's my first. It was probably my second Disney film I watched.
The animated one, you're about, yeah.
So it was kind of close to me.
So
it's not my favourite, but
no, of course not. Yeah,
it's up there. And when they were doing it, and I was like, "Oh man, this is going to be good." The trailers looked all good. The casting for that, was unreal casting. Idris Elba. I'm crap.
Yeah, like Ben Kingsley, Bill Murray, Scarlett Johansson. It's up there, man. There's loads of people in that movie. Well, their voices aren't they? They're not actually in it, are they? So
and the story's pretty much the same. It's I think probably additional bits.
There's a couple. I think the ending's different.
Is there really?
From the cartoon to the movie, but everything else is pretty much the same.
Yeah, it's not for scene, but there's like more extended stuff.
No, they've extended it out. There's not much singing in it either.
Yeah.
But
who plays the big ape?
King Louis, Christopher Walken.
Yeah,
Christopher Walken.
That's awesome.
Kid, I got ears.
Yeah.
And then my cousin's got ears.
I was singing along in there.
Walken.
I was singing in that cinema. But
They're not wearing any watches.
Amazing. And it does, the animation was spot on, and I was on the hype from there. I was like, dude, they're gonna do Lion King. This is it. They're gonna knock it out.
Yeah, because Maleficent was like meh, but then when they did Jungle Book, I have to admit that this was the future for Disney movies. Like, because they have got this now's at the park. The rest of their movies will be great live action. Oh boy, were we wrong about that?
Now we're like, no remakes,
no more.
Just don't touch them. That's the stage I'm at. But again, a bit of a hypocrite. But that was a really good image.
No, I admit, I think that is probably my favorite Disney, live action remake.
Like even the designs for the animals and the
effects,
the way they're shot is up there,
all out. Yeah, fantastic.
Disney get carried away with their own success, don't they? They should have just left it at Jungle Book and gone, that was an excellent idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, they
exactly.
And then Lion King,
or not rush the others out. Like maybe just take your time, like they did with Jungle Book, and maybe you will have a bit more quality. I mean, Beauty and the Beast was okay, but again, it's one of those films that was such a short animated film. It was like, how do we extend this to over an hour? Let's make some other shit up and stuff.
Yeah, shoehorning in new content.
Exactly. So
yeah, a bit short and sweet, but
nice, mate. Nice. Hypocrite.
It's fine.
H, what's your number 5, sir?
Right, so as we know, 2 lists.
Yes, of course. Yes.
So the main list is, I call it remakes that hit the target.
Yep.
And the second list is remakes that missed the point.
Oh, okay. So we'll go with that one first.
So we'll go with missed. Yeah. So number 5 on the missed list is Old Boy.
Oh. Okay.
What the American Hollywood?
So one? I'm talking about the American remake
with Josh Brolin.
That's correct. Yeah. Who else was in it?
Elizabeth Olsen?
Yes, Think Marvel, I was going to say. I am an uber fan of the original Old Boy.
Yes, same.
It's one of those films that I think when you watch it, and it because it's not culturally familiar to you, and there's a lot to learn. But the story is also fantastic. The acting is great. I love anything in another language. Since a very young boy, I would always watch anything with subtitles.
Yes.
So this film instantly grabbed my attention. And yeah, the storyline was just absolutely mind blowing. And as per the rules, I won't give too much about what happens. But
you can't. Yeah.
That movie.
So it's one of those films where I think it's untouchable. It's not the most amazing film ever made, but it is untouchable. And then they made the remake.
I haven't seen it. So, is it?
So they wanted to remake it since the original came out. I think Will Smith was attached to it at one point as well. He was going to be Odysseus.
Every other character.
But because Spike Lee was directing it, his first choice always was Will Smith. And I don't know why he pulled out last minute and whatnot, but that's a massive difference between Will Smith and Josh Brolin. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Especially when you look at the actor who played the original character, and you just think, oh, wow, okay. You've changed, you've scaled up a little bit there. But when I say missed the point, they missed the point of a remake.
Yes.
Because it's just the film again. And I just feel like, You had the opportunity to do something slightly different with it, and you didn't. And
carbon copy, wasn't it?
It was a carbon copy, yeah, exactly. And it was just utterly disappointing.
Is it
we
worth
got another
watching it though?
We got another Old Boy fan in the building. Yes.
Is it worth watching though? No.
The remake, I wouldn't bother. I wouldn't bother. No. The original.
Yeah, of course. I love that one,
absolutely. Yeah. I'd recommend it to anybody all day long.
Yeah.
But no, it's a shame.
So it's a carbon copy.
Yep.
But what you think it should have had more newer ideas? Or?
Yeah. I just think, all right, it was made, 10 years later?
Is that? 10, 15 years later.
Whatever it was.
Because I'm only asking this question because sometimes you watch the remakes and I'm like, why have you changed it completely? And then I'm like, you should have stuck to what it was. So
I think this is what we're going back to what Howard was saying about him being young, watching subtitles. There are a lot of people we know that won't even touch anything with subtitles. So I think this was a carbon copy just to stop.
Oh, right, okay.
For people to still go through that experience, but without the subtitles. Yeah. But then again, watch it dubbed.
Shame, man.
But what do I know?
Yeah. I just think it was a missed opportunity. They could have done something slightly different, not completely changing because it becomes another film completely.
Yeah.
And that's where we enter reboot territory and stuff like that. But just a missed opportunity there.
Most definitely.
Old Boy, definitely.
Such a great man. Yeah, I can't believe it. We've got another Old Boy fan in the building. So what's the actual number 5, sir?
So the one that hit the mark for me, number 5 is Last Man Standing.
Oh, with Bruce Willis. No way. I didn't know that was a remake.
It is a remake.
Get out of here.
Yes. And it was one of those ones when I watched it and I thought, when you sit and you just think, I've seen this before. Well, I haven't seen this before. Where have I seen this? Watched the whole film, and I don't know if you guys are like me, but I instantly get on IMDb and then start going through trivia and I absorb everything about the film after the event. It is a remake of A Fistful of Dollars.
Oh, no way!
Yeah,
I never knew
Clint
that.
Eastwood as the man with no name. So the John Smith character that Bruce Willis plays when he rocks up in Jericho, he is the man with no name. He is Clint Eastwood, and the gangsters that are running the town. It's the two factions that fight each other at the end in.
Fistful of Dollars.
Fistful of Dollars. And he gets stuck in the middle.
Fucking hell, I never knew that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I haven't seen this
Well,
one.
I mean,
it's 80s, 90s film, isn't it?
96.
96.
I'm very much mistaken.
Fistful of Dollars was...
So Fistful of Dollars, that was a film that was made in the 60s. So it's Clint Eastwood as his most famous character, the man with no name.
The Spaghetti Western trilogy.
Spaghetti Westerns, he just rocks up into town and just solves everybody's problem. But the one genre that, aside from science fiction, possibly horror, that I love the most is westerns.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So Clint Eastwood, big hero of mine, very, very big hero. So when I learned that this was a remake,
wow,
changed the setting, changed the character, but the heart was still there of what made the original film so great. And that's what was there in this film, and that's why I love it, and that's why it's hit the mark for me.
Nice.
But yeah,
I've not seen it in ages. I can't remember. Is it a carbon copy of Fistful of Dollars, or they actually changed a bit to it?
No, I mean, like I said earlier, it was one of those films where you sit and you think, I've never seen this film before, but it feels
like the
very
ideas
familiar.
from somewhere.
But I couldn't, without watching them side by side or immediately after each other, I couldn't say whether or not it was carbon copy. There's ideas and themes that are recreated, but I wouldn't say that they've shot it scene for scene.
Oh, good.
Just in a different setting. But I could be wrong. It's been a while since I watched it.
I need to watch it. I actually own that film as
Yeah,
well. I haven't watched it in ages.
Film.
Yeah,
It's just so good.
because I've got it with it's on a Blu-ray next, and it's a double one. It's got Last Boy Scout and,
okay.
Last Man Standing on it. I love Last Boy Scout, so I
mean, Bruce Willis. He's one of these guys that he can nearly play anything. Nearly. He's not quite. Oh, it's another Bruce Willis film where he plays Bruce Willis, but you believe in him. You believe.
Has he ever played a villain in a movie? I can't think of it.
I can't
think of one.
think so.
Do you know? I don't think he has.
If any listeners know, please comment below. Let us know.
He was slightly to the left in the oh god, the Expendables is Mr. Church.
Oh yeah,
But then he
yeah.
was still technically a good guy.
Yeah, he was a good guy number 2 in the end, wasn't he?
Yeah,
So,
yeah. But no, I don't think he is. No, he's one of the ultimate good guys. Isn't he?
Ultimate good guy.
So yeah, Last Man Standing.
Nice, very good shout, sir. See, I'm learning stuff as well. I thought I did my research, but anyway, number 4.
Number 4.
Right, let me look at my quick book of notes here. Right, number 4. Let's travel back to the best year of movies, in my opinion, the year of 1999. We're going for a summer blockbuster that is a remake of a 1932 movie starring Boris Karloff, and that is The Mummy.
Yes.
Is it on your list, isn't it? Do you want to join in or do you want to wait? Is it number 4?
It's a bit higher. I think it's number 3.
All right, we'll come back to you anyway. So I
could jump in if you want.
if you want to jump in, it's
let's
entirely
jump
to you.
in,
It's your choice.
Well, this nearly made my list.
Did it? Yeah. I mean,
Actually, it's number 2.
this again. That year for cinema for me is a big deal. I absolutely love 1999 for movies. I'll probably hopefully do an episode on it one time. I'm not going to go into it now, but this was a summer blockbuster that no one saw it being a summer blockbuster. This was like let's just go see The Mummy because The Matrix is all sold out sort of film.
Wow.
And that was the case. Let's be honest, it was. I mean, I don't know if you went for it, but for me and Howard possibly, that was the film you saw because The Matrix was all full up.
I love Universal monster movies.
Yes.
But yeah, I think you're probably right.
That was people's
that
angle
summer
to
was
it.
all about the Matrix.
And then when you actually watched it, it was
it was brilliant.
a great time in the movies.
It's so fun.
And this movie, the reason it's on my list is because it's a movie that I miss going to watch at the movies. We don't get that sort of blockbuster adventure type looking
It
thing.
has
I mean,
everything if you think about it.
it's got
the
so
scare
much in it:
factor.
action, comedy, romance, CGI,
All boxed up in
adventure.
one, yeah.
It's all wrapped into one, and it's so much different to the remake.
It's just like an Indiana Jones film.
Exactly.
Right. I'm not going to go into it. I'm not going to go into it.
Apart from the CGI, well, maybe the CGI part in later Indiana Jones films, but yeah. But yeah, that's like quite interesting how you like that and it's not in Indiana Jones.
It's that actor I'm not a big fan of, and 50% is to annoy you as well.
I don't know what's wrong with this guy.
Yeah, I mean, Brendan Fraser in this is fantastic. Rick O'Connell is a fucking great character.
Omad Jalali.
Yes.
Omad Jalali.
This godless son of a pig. Oh man, Rachel Wise again, fantastic. John Hannah in that as well.
Who's the actor that plays the bad guy?
Arnold Vosloo.
Oh, okay.
He's a South African actor. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm pretty sure no one has seen the original, but as for a horror Universal movie monster movie, very slow, very dark, very setting the scene for horror for back then, which you never really got to see much at the moment. In this, you can full blown see him grow and create minions and create spells and stuff. It's such a great fucking movie. The sequel, the Mummy Returns, I really enjoy as well. But this one alone was the surprise for me. I mean, I remember seeing trailers for this in cinema, and I was like, the mouth, the sandstorm, everything. And I remember seeing this. I was like, oh my god, this could be like like you said, a new indie, if you will.
Blockbuster.
It is. That's what I'm saying, and it's just the guy who made it, Stephen Sommers. He doesn't really make movies now, and it's a shame because he can do a song. I mean, Van Helsing's not exactly great, but it's fucking fun. It is fun.
It's a good. Yeah, you're
Van
right.
Helsing's sick.
Exactly.
So good.
It's really good.
It's a great theme, a great story. Yeah.
I mean, like I said, going back to Mummy Returns is again this one, but up notch with action and The Rock and stuff, and bad CGI maybe, but
the worst
ever. But my God, I can't deny, man, I really still love this movie to this day, and had to be on here. It was off, it was on, it was off, it was on. I changed so much this list because of what I said about changing out the horror films last minute and whatnot. But good God, I can't deny, man, that, you know.
What's great about that, and like I said, I love Universal Monster flicks, so I'm familiar with the original.
Nice.
And it took all of the elements of the original film, which for the 30s, it was quite slow, it was quite plodding, but you got a lot of good story out of it. But yeah, then it amped it up to 11. And
yes.
it gave anybody watching that film at that time the film that they deserved.
It means that, even like you said with the opening, with the story about an ox on the moon and trying to raise her back from the dead and whatnot, it kind of shows that, you know, the mummy is not really a bad guy. He wants to like just do things for a loved one and whatnot.
Yeah.
And
what would you do for love?
Exactly. And I remember, because I'm not sure if he was around for that. Howard, with that cinema was just brand new that year as well, that we had in Corey.
I'm not from round here.
Right, I'm not from round here myself, but I remember that year we had a smaller cinema and we had this bigger one, which was like a Virgin Megaplex cinema at the time. And this movie, The Mummy, was actually one of the first ever bigger, wider screens.
Nice.
That I'd ever seen, because we used to have another cinema which was very small, very boxed sort of screen. So you would never get the wide pan angle. Yeah. And that opening scene where you see Egypt and you know, an ox on the moon all dressed in gold and just setting the scene for Egypt itself was just amazing. And it's just, I was like flabbergasted at just this opening scene. Not an awful lot happens in this scene, but just how it was presented, and it was such a thrill ride to, like, you know, go from there, and then it's non-stop from there. It's flat out adventure from start to finish in that movie. Yeah. So, you know, you think one thing's done, another thing comes across. Yeah. One thing's done, another thing's come across. Or we've managed to escape this person. Oh, but some such and such has been kidnapped. Fantastic, man.
That's so good.
Such a popcorn remake of a movie.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry, I've just taken out all what you wanted to say. Is there anything you want to say about it?
I like a few things. No, because it is one of my favourite films. I watched it quite recently as well. One thing I want to say is it's a good family friendly film as well. You can literally, obviously, maybe not little ones, but like what I'm trying to say is that it's sometimes when you go into a film and you're like, oh, I only watch specific type of genres. When you go into this, it's got everything. It's like what you said. It's scary. Everyone can actually sit down and enjoy it. Like, I watched it with my missus and she was like, oh, is there another one? And then she enjoyed number 2 as well.
You're like, yes, and it's got The Rock in it.
Yeah. I was like, and one thing, you know, it's the setting, Egypt. You know, it's so mysterious, and the mummy, and they do that like a, what's that word? Is it where they do like a flashback?
Yes.
They always do that in the mummies, and I always love that because that kind of sets the tone. You're like, oh, okay, shit. And they do the same in number 2 where it's with the Scorpion King.
Yes,
I love that thing, and for me, that kind of sets the tone for the whole film. And you know, the one aspect I love, which I thought you were going to talk about. I love the scarabs.
Yeah, the scarab. Yeah, it's a great scene.
It just comes out. Oh man, literally everything, man. And the trailers, and I remember that the final scene was just him. The plane just flying and the mouth just goes. And I was like, what the fuck? This is insane.
So many elements of Egypt as well. And like, you know, Egyptian mythology and stuff like that. And which further goes into the second one as well, when they go against all those Anubis creatures and at the end of what the
ones that run on the wall in the London. That was awesome.
Yeah, very good.
But yeah, I'd love it. That's really high up on my list. It's number 2.
But yeah, I mean, some of the set pieces in that cinema, in that film as well, like when they're going down the corridors with all their torches and stuff. That's pure Indiana fucking Jones, and it put it into you know what do you call it, the Mummy. So then when you had the recent like Tomb Raiders and stuff, it's like, well, you can tell that's a CGI background. You can tell that sand's not really there and stuff, and that's what loses its appeal to me. Yeah. And that's what I think, like, you know, we need to get back to that sort of cinema and have real sets and stuff, and actually have actors work with something that's actually there.
And have this type of film back. You're right. You don't see these type of films no more, unless we just. It's
a shame the third one sucked ass, but it'd be cool to bring it back if they ever do another one.
The third one was all right. They changed the the idea, and they stretched it slightly thin. Didn't
Yeah,
they?
big time.
It was all right, but yeah.
It has some good moments, like every other sequel, but you were just like, it just didn't match
It was a
the other
different
two.
film. It was a
Yeah.
different film. Yeah. If you'd put it under a different name, you might have accepted it a bit more, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't remember the third one.
It with Jet Li.
Oh, really?
The Dragon Emperor.
The Dragon Emperor, that's it.
And it's got this
Brendan Fraser's in it, but Rachel Weisz came out. She didn't want to do the third
Yeah,
one.
Maria Bello, I think, takes her place.
That's it. Yes,
I might
you're
have
right.
seen it. I might have seen it.
No. My number 4, that was your number 3?
Number 2.
Was your number 2? Wow, that's quite high. So, what's your number 4 then, sir?
Oh, yeah. Let me just double check. My number 4 is Dread 2012.
Oh, okay.
Carl Urban.
That's a remake?
Now, do we call that a remake? I would
Dread?
say.
That's just a reboot, dude.
I would say reboot.
Would you not say it's...
Yeah, it's not a remake.
Okay, I've got another one.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that's a remake.
Amazing film.
Yes,
And
good pick, but yeah.
For another podcast,
okay.
We'll save that for the top 5 reboots.
I love Judge Dredd in 2000 AD. We'll talk about that later.
right.
for
Nice.
another podcast.
Damn it now. That's going to throw me off. Can you just put my...
We'll go to Howard's 4. We'll
Yeah,
come
yeah,
back to
yeah,
you.
yeah.
Right, Howard, what's your one that missed the mark?
Right,
number 4.
one that missed the mark for number 4 is Get Carter.
Oh, was that with Stallone?
Stallone's Get Carter.
God! Oh, mate, that's been a long time since I've seen that movie.
Now, I say missed the mark because another one of my favourite actors of all time is Michael Caine.
Of course,
And
right.
a lot of the films that he did in the 60s, and not so much the 70s, but the 60s, like Alfie, Get Carter especially, the Italian Job. It was one of those great pieces where he is Michael Caine in any film he's in, but he acted his arse off and you believed it, and the story was great, and it was typically British and nasty and northern and a bit scummy, and the ending was a bit depressing, but great film.
Yeah.
So along comes Stallone. As this mob
totally
enforcer
out of place,
from
man.
Las Vegas. Yeah, and they've changed the set. So this kind of betrays what I was saying earlier about taking the idea and changing it up a little bit. I don't disclaim that. I don't think that's a bad thing to do. But yeah, you messed with
The thing is that when Michael Caine did Get Carter, he was quite a young actor at the time.
Yeah, he was. Yeah,
Whereas
he just
Stallone
come
was
off the back
like-
of Alfie, I think, and this was, they changed his dynamic a little bit, so he wasn't just this sort of young, fresh-faced man about town. All of a sudden, he was a hard man, and this was something new for him. And then obviously, like, he did Harry Palmer with the whole spy stuff. So yeah, to watch Stallone as the same character, but it was absolutely pants.
Yeah.
And he
So is it?
I can't say about the ending,
it's
but
been a while to watch this. Was it the same as the original, but just a different setting?
Yeah,
then?
they included the same story, changed the setting, but it was very Americanized. And I don't want to slam any sort of terminology around that. Americans make fantastic movies, as we're fully aware. But the American ideal about gangsters and the American mob and revenge and the ending, they changed the ending. And it went the wrong way.
Right.
I'm trying to put my words into context here without spoiling
it.
Yeah, I
it's
think
quite an old movie. I don't mind if you spoil it. or
well,
what.
basically, at the end of the original Get Carter, he avenges his brother who was killed by the British mob, and then basically the top hitman for the British mob shoot him on a beach,
Yeah.
in the back, and he dies in the sand. And I think it epitomised that time, and it was a great film. But yeah, because Stallone survives, and he goes off and has a family and lives his life, and he's got his money. And
America's got
America's
to have the happy ending, haven't they, mate?
Jesus Christ! I think that's what spoiled it for me. But yeah, the whole film was just pants. It was pants.
Well, hey, I'm still alive, man.
No, I love Stallone. I think Stallone is great, especially in Judge Dredd. But
Yes, all right.
it has to be the right setting and the right character for the right actor, and that just wasn't it. Yeah, I didn't believe it at all. I came away from it thinking what was that?
I wish John was here for this episode. He loves Get Carter. There's that line I always do from that movie. It's like, what is it now? It's going to put me on the spot now. Did you know his last name? Well, it's Carter. That's my name. And her father was my brother.
But yes, that's it, yeah, and when he walks out into the street with his shotgun, he's toting the gun. It was brilliant. It was of its time. That's probably where they got it wrong. They removed it from its time, from its setting, and that's what's
because it was a big gap between the remake, wasn't it? It's like
it's
a 90s film, isn't it? The remake,
2000, I think the remake was
2000.
So and the original it was something like 60
something, yeah.
So yeah, you're talking a very long time.
Bloody hell. So what's the one that hit the mark, sir? The
one that hit the mark for me, for my number 4, was Ocean's 11.
Oh, of course, yes.
With the character of Danny Ocean.
I didn't know it was a remake.
Yeah,
it was a remake. Yeah,
the Brat Pack's the original, isn't it?
That's correct. Yeah,
Oh, wow.
yeah. Similar story. I think in the original, again, I'm thinking back now because I need to rewatch all these films. But, the original premise was that they were going to fleece 5 casinos. And they succeed with consequences at the end. And obviously in the remake, they were just going to fleece. I think it was just the one casino, wasn't it?
Yes, all 5 banks were going to be into one casino,
that's
wasn't it?
Yeah. So taking the idea and changing it slightly, but for better effect, I think. And it made for a very, very good film. But the ensemble cast, I think, is what made this film.
100%. What a cast as well, right?
Each actor and each character had their time to shine, and they gave them the time as well.
And they're all in their prime as well. They're not like they're old and haggard or whatever. They're like, Clooney's in his prime. Pitt's there. Julia Roberts. My God.
Yeah.
Andy Garcia.
Andy Garcia is especially brilliant. I love him in anything he's in. It really made it for me. But some of the sequels, not so much.
No, 12 and 13 were
a bit. Yeah, they missed the mark.
Definitely. But no, 11. I remember seeing that in the cinema, and I kind of knew of it. I'd never seen the original, but I was thinking to myself, I don't think I'm going to like this movie. I'm not a big fan of the director as well, so I was like, we'll go see it. I was on a date at the time, so I thought, fuck it, let's take the plunge for a bit of pussy, eh? But anyway, it did. But hey, fuck it, this is a cracking remake, dudes. It's really good.
It had that sort of 60s feel to it as well.
Yes, it did.
In its look, in the way that it was directed, and the way it was acted. And Gail was talking about flashbacks. So these were intermittent, sort of very, very recent quick flashbacks where they were explaining, how was that done? Or how was I think the whole piece just worked.
Yes, because we see it happen,
but you don't know how.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
And I like the whole assembling a team aspect to it as well, because
you can never fail with that, I think.
Exactly. Like, you only had a couple, but when they were like bringing people in who specialise in this and this and this, and you've got, like I said, other big actors coming into it, fucking, this is such a good film.
Why didn't the other ones work out then?
It didn't. I don't think it had the magic of the first one.
They used that all up in the first one, I think. And by the time the second one rolls around, it was a decent enough film. I'm not going to slam it, but it just, what made the first one so special was done.
Okay, so
it was just a sequel, and they were playing out the parts, and it wasn't about
like JP1. Like, you couldn't catch a magic in the lightning in the bottle again, could you?
Yeah.
But yeah. Have you never seen Ocean's 11?
I have, but I can't remember this.
Okay.
Stuff. It's been a while.
Yeah.
But no, I was just curious because I know I haven't seen the recent. I know there was a couple came out.
They did one recently with all women cast.
It was an all female cast.
All female cast.
I haven't seen that one.
No, neither have I. I don't think. Personally, I wasn't even going to watch Ocean's 13 after 12, to be honest. But it had Al Pacino in it, so I thought I'd give it a go.
Well, yeah, of course.
But no, good pick, sir. I again was going to be an honourable mention from me. Very good pick.
Thank you.
Nice one. Let's go to number 3s.
Number 3.
What's my number 3? Yours.
G missed his number 4.
Oh, sorry. We'll go back to number 4.
Number 4.
Well, right. Well, so it's not Dread. It is
It.
Okay. We can. Yeah, I'd say that's definitely a remake.
Is that allowed?
Yep. Yeah, we'll let him have it. We'll let him.
Well, about the time John fucks up.
Yeah, that's true.
But
I mean, I'll say it's both. Go on, let me have it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I came into it not watching.
No pun intended.
Not watching the previous. Is it Stephen? No.
So yeah, it was a made-for-TV movie.
Yeah.
I
knew of it.
It was just it at the time.
Yeah.
This one's Stephen King's, isn't it? So.
I knew of it, and when I originally watched it, I think I watched it with you. I'm not sure. The boys.
We saw it at the cinema. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, we did. Yeah.
So, and all the everything wasn't like, oh, that's been done. So it was for me
a first time experience.
First time experience, and I thought, you know.
So you didn't know about the whole "you float down here" and all that sort of stuff.
No, I think you used to do the quotes for me and stuff as well.
I used to do it with Tim Curry's one because
so
the thing is, Tim Curry, when he played Pennywise, that scene especially, he's like, "Oh, we're all down here," but then
Pennywise just.
When he shouts, he goes full breath. You floater! But yeah, Pennywise. Sorry, how?
No, I was just saying Pennywise is when you. I mean, when that came out in 1990, I think, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Yeah,
I was about 11 years old, but even then, you know, I loved my horror.
Yeah,
Curry is Pennywise.
See, like I can't. Obviously, I can't. I've only seen this Pennywise.
So I haven't seen the new one.
Have you not?
No. So you can't go into too much detail.
I really liked it. There's stuff that I really enjoyed, like stuff that happens in the back. So I can't remember the kid's name. He's the big kid that's just joined the school. And this, my favorite bit is with him when it's kind of like provoking him or something. And there's a bit in the library where he's just flicking through trying to find out about all these kids gone missing back in the day, and it's the music, and it's fixated on him, and the balloon I think keeps floating past him, and there's this librarian just like
she's just standing there staring at him.
I think a lot of people miss that, but I was like, because it kind of flicks through
because you're focusing on him, aren't you? Yeah,
and then it goes in, and then she just turns around and has got this freakiest face, and when I originally glimpsed at it, well, it was like I think that was the intentions of the director. It creeped the fuck out. I was like, whoa. So that's one of my scary moments in the film, and also the kid with the Jews. Is it the Jew kid with the frame?
Oh, the picture. Yes.
Obviously, there's more to the film, but those are the scenes that I've really enjoyed watching in this film.
Yeah, I mean, this is going back to the question I was asking you guys about. What would you do for a new generation? And I think Hollywood nailed it on the right on the money for
not so
for
much
this
on the
one because everyone, again, back to what Howard said, everyone knows, if you're a horror fan, knows what Pennywise is, or even just the mention of it, you'd be like, oh, that's from it, even though you haven't seen it. But to bring this it to a new audience, to a younger audience now, just terrifies people more of clowns even more now, isn't it? So,
well, like I said, I've never seen it, but I've never heard a bad word say about the remake.
Any reason you haven't seen it? You don't?
I have not got around to watching it. Yeah. Not. I've not been avoiding it.
To be honest, if I didn't meet these guys, I would have missed it because I didn't know much about it. But because it was such a beloved film from you guys, I was like, okay, I'm going to go check it out.
In all fairness, though, you've kind of like had a lot of films suggested for you since you've known us now.
Yeah, that's
and
what I'm
got
saying.
to know stuff or not.
That's part of the.
But I didn't realise. I thought you knew about it. I didn't realise you'd.
I knew
your first experience of it,
but I didn't obviously know the story of Pennywise. So it was like a filler. Watching this film is like you learnt everything. I learned everything through watching that, not watching the previous film.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was quite.
Nothing wrong with this grandma. It's just dated though is the issue. I mean, we done a spectacular episode about it a couple of seasons ago. So me and John rewatched it, and it's like, again, Tim Curry is one of my favourite actors of all time. He still nails it on the park as Pennywise, but for the film itself, because it was made for TV, the effects for some of the creatures and all the gore and stuff is a bit very outdated. So it did need a reboot or remake, however we want to put it as. And I can't deny this was very close on my list. It was going to be a mention. It's fantastic. I really do like it. Part 2, not too much, but Part 1's fantastic.
I don't know which one came out first, but I can see a lot of Stranger Things for our vibes from this.
Howard, it's practically Goonies with a clown.
Oh, really?
You'll love Part 1, dude. Part 1 is so good. You will like it.
With Finn Wolfhard from...
Yeah. Oh, yeah, of course, because he's from Stranger Things. That's right, yes, absolutely, yes.
Yeah, Stranger Things came before this remake.
Even the actor who he nails it with playing it as well. I can't remember.
Now, you were saying about that woman spying on you is Pennywise, yeah.
Huh?
You're saying about that library, right? No. There's a Pennywise right there looking at you.
I think it's
Dustin right there. They go right
I think it's so that it's the way it just makes you focus on the thing, on the kid, and there's this woman just like creepily just staring at the screen or at the boy, and when you just when you just have that quickly when you walk.
It reminds me of that shot from Jurassic Park 3. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Which one?
There's do you remember Jurassic Park 3 much?
Oh, yeah.
So the guy who falls into the water in the birdcage thing?
Yeah.
You're watching him as he goes down the water, and the next minute the camera zooms in, and there's literally a dinosaur looking straight at you, and it's like, fuck, that's
great cinema, because if you're so focused on what's in the foreground, and there's this thing in the background that
It makes you jump.
Yes, definitely.
That is brilliant film.
And it's probably not everyone's scariest moment, but for me, that was like, whoa! Like I literally was like, okay, the guy's got my attention. I'm going to be a bit scared now. But yeah, it is my
number 4. Nice pick over Dread.
Sorry for the Dread.
Let's go for freeze now.
Number 3.
Right, actual freeze now. My number 3 is Casino Royale.
Oh, yes.
With Daniel Craig.
It's a remake.
It's a remake.
It's a remake.
I'm learning.
And one of the greatest films ever made.
Right.
I'm learning a lot.
Wow. 1967 was the original. I'm not very much into the lore of Bond much, because this was a Bond film, but not a Bond film, the original.
So I do believe Casino Royale was the first novel that Ian Fleming wrote with James Bond in. The new film with Daniel Craig is closer to the story. What they did with the 60s version, because there were multiple 007s.
Yes.
All under the moniker of James Bond, all played by different actors. So it was an in-joke. So,
but it wasn't Connery or the other known Bond actors.
David Niven, I think, Woody Allen. It was poking a little bit of fun whilst still being a Bond film, because there are elements in it that were very Bond, and it's an enjoyable film. You can sit and watch it, and you'll get a lot out of it. But yeah, it was basically a piss take.
Yeah, it was kind of like a comedy of it, wasn't it? Really, isn't it?
Yeah,
and
it had Blofeld in
James
it,
Bond.
Yeah.
So it wasn't James Bond.
So James Bond's like the serious films like Doctor No and whatnot was from 62, and then in 67 for some reason, like Howard said, it was one of the first books Ian Fleming did. I don't know why they felt the need to do something like that. I believe there's another one with Connery that's not officially...
So Never Say Never Again.
That's it.
Right, which itself is a remake of Thunderball.
Right.
Because at the time there was rights issues and who owned what about the particular the screenplay of Thunderball. And the other half of the writing team went out and made Never Say Never Again.
Yeah.
It was an excuse for Sean Connery to come back and play Bond, etc., etc., etc. So yeah, that in itself is a remake.
Yeah. It just I can understand, because it was a Bond film, but never really part of it. But now you've answered that long-term question for me.
But they now consider them canon. I'm not going to go out, all of that Marvel multiverse bullshit. But they are considered canon in their own right.
But Casino Royale. How can you not? This is a cracking film, as well as a great start for Daniel Craig and his Bond career itself.
Set the tone for the rest of his films, isn't it?
2006, this one came out, and it is, probably one of the most, to a degree, realistic Bond film.
I think so. Yeah.
Because this sort of one, because obviously we're used to Bond being...
There's nothing fantastical about it.
No, it's very gritty, hard, and Bond can actually die, He goes through a point where he gets poisoned, and his heart stops. There's a part where he actually takes his, tuxedo off, and you can see him healing himself and stuff. He's got bruises, cuts, scars, whatnot. But as a film itself, like the opening scene alone is probably one of the best opening scenes ever.
Amazing. And filmed in black and white as well.
Yeah, good God, I love that. Yeah. It's so great.
That whole sequence beginning was in black and white?
Yes, in black and white. When he's in the office and he's like talking to that guy, but he's having flashbacks of beating this geezer up in the bathroom. Don't remember it.
But that chase scene is
No, I'm talking. That's before. That's after that. Sorry. But that fucking that chase scene alone again.
That goes through
again. It's just like what can you not say about this film apart? Mads Mikkelsen's in as well. He's a great, bad guy.
He plays an amazing bad guy.
And he whips him.
Yeah, we have a couple of scenes of them just literally playing poker. But it's so fucking intense. And it's so and Bond's going to win, but it's just like how he does it. And
barely, though.
Barely, and then how he grips it and how he gets back in the game and stuff. Oh God, it's so good! And then it has the car spinning, which has a record of the most spins a car can do, or something like that, in an action scene, wasn't it?
I want to watch it again now.
I know, right? The great ending scene in Venice as well. It's just this movie keeps giving and giving. There's even a scene where he tries to stop a terrorist in an airport.
Yeah.
There's so much to this movie, and it's like what a difference from the original comedy film to this, right?
And I think throughout the whole film, you don't get that famous name's James. James Bond.
To the very, very
that
end.
That was pretty good
Yes.
as well. You're like, what? He hasn't said it yet. He hasn't said it.
And there's even the part where he asks for vodka martini, and they're like, or the guy says, shaken or stirred. He goes, do it look like I give a damn? He's like, he doesn't say it officially, but yeah, it's there, isn't it? You're waiting for it. You're waiting for these Bond puns, aren't you, sort of thing.
That was good.
Again, I just because License to Kill is one of my other favourite Bond films.
Interesting.
I like it because I'm very much like Old Boy. I love revenge stories, and this is where I feel like I like to see Bond on his revenge side. That's where obviously License to Kill comes into it. So when we actually got to see a bit more of a realistic Bond, because the year before we had Batman Begins, which kind of made out Batman to be a bit more realistic. Like he can build cloaks and glide and be a Batman, and we can see he has injuries and he tries to recover himself and stuff. So when they sort of did that with Bond, I think that's another reason why I really liked this movie as well. Apart from, like I said, it being typical Bond with a shit ton of action, great storyline. How can it not be in the top 5? I was contemplating back and forth, but I had to put it in there in the end.
I think it's one of those films that if they had not made any more Daniel Craig films after that, it would have stood out.
Yeah,
I personally wouldn't have cared. I'd be like, that's great. Do you know what? The end. And they could have ended on this amazing flick. Because it's one of those perfect films.
Yes, 100%.
It's got a bit of everything, and there's not one part of it I dislike.
You're absolutely right. I don't think there's even a scene in it where I just think... sometimes when you watch it, I'll fast forward this bit. It's boring.
Or just
none of that. None of that with this movie at all.
I always enjoyed I always remember the starting credit. It always has the song but
you know my name.
But
Chris Cornell, one of my favourite singers of all time.
I love
He's passed now, isn't he? He did pass recently, didn't he? Yeah.
With this one, I love the artwork they do. It's all like casino.
Because they do that with most of the films. They tends to have the theme to what it is, isn't it? I love that. All the different Jack of Spades and all that sort of stuff in the background. So good, yeah. That's my number 3.
That's an amazing choice.
Yeah, thank you. Number 3, sir?
My number 3?
Xeria.
It's actually 2004 Dawn of the Dead.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Nice.
Yeah. I thought
Zack Snyder's first ever.
Zack Snyder's. This for me, I've come from an era where I didn't know, but I haven't watched Dawn of the Dead and all that trilogy.
Right, you never saw the original.
And for me at the time, and I still think is one of my favourite zombie films. It's the aspect of them trapped in the mall and they're trying to survive. That's what I always, if you, what's that game Capcom released where it's all in the mall?
Dead Rising.
Yeah. So I don't know what it is. I'm just fascinated of just stuck in the place, and you have to survive. And this is what this film did for me, and how they go about it as well. So I guess everyone knows the premises. So do I need?
Yeah, I mean, well,
it's just survivors. They come together and they go into a mall that's abandoned.
So zombie apocalypse has happened, and a bunch of people meet up with one another and survive in a mall, isn't it? Yes,
that's it,
close themselves in, don't they?
That's it, and then shit starts happening. I think there's a bunch of survivors who some of them are against it. They don't want to save them. Obviously, they split. Obviously, they bring more survivors in, and some of them are infected. This is woman. Did you know that woman? I don't know if you know. Did you know?
You meant to warn me beforehand, otherwise I'd never get it done in time.
So one of the survivors that come in later on, or halfway, they take into the mall. There's a woman, and she's like all like bloaty, and
the big woman. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Apparently, it's a bloke playing it.
Is it really?
Yeah, fun fact.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Did you know?
Damn it, here we go.
That this movie is actually written by James Gunn as well.
No.
Yeah.
For real?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Don't know that. Wow.
Now you know. So carry on.
Always have to top me,
So
man.
I'm not trying to.
But yeah, and where was it? I don't know. For me personally, I think it's one of my favourite zombie films. Obviously there's... I know you don't like me saying this. 28 Days Later, which is not a zombie film you say all the time, but
it's not technically. But you young'uns, I'll let you have it.
But for me, I put this one up there.
Huh?
Running zombies.
Yeah. But no, they're running zombies in this as well, aren't they? The remake.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
There are.
What was I going to say now? No, sorry, carry on.
So yeah, keep it.
It's a good pick, mate. Yeah, it's a very good pick. A good starter for Zack Snyder's career by far. When he did Army of the Dead, I was super fucking excited for the film because this is the guy who did the Dawn of the Dead remake. I'm like, I am day one gonna watch this, and then it turned out being an Aliens remake, but never mind.
It was all right though. It was a good.
It was good. It could have been better.
I enjoyed it, but I also had a question of so because I haven't watched the previous Dawn of the Dead and all that. Is there any tie-ins to that film or any
really.
references?
Same.
There's a couple of references.
There's always references, but yeah, if you were to sort of try to pinpoint them,
so it's not like this story is happening at the same time as that? No,
nothing like that. No.
Okay.
It's the exact same concept. There's a couple of cameos from the original guys are in this. Yeah. There's a big black dude in the original when he says the famous tagline from the poster, when there's no more room in hell, the dead will walk the earth. Fantastic tagline, by the way, one of my favourites. That's in the movie. There's a couple others in there. Tom Savini is cameos in it as well, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, fucking I love that.
Because he was famous for the bob.
That's it, yes, because he done all the makeup as well and everything, yeah. And he has that scene in the remake where he goes, Daddy, put another around on her, she's a twitcher.
I gotta say, there's some dark choices in this as well, as in like they shoot a zombie baby.
Dude, some creepy factors into that movie, man. But I liked how you sort of pointed out again the question I asked you guys earlier, that you've skipped. Well, you didn't know much about the original, so a new generation, and this one was because when this was announced, for us hardcore Romero fans, we're like, why? Why even bother?
Yeah,
just watch the original.
Yeah.
But again, it being very dated, and Zack Snyder took all the elements from George's original, put it into his own blend, and like Howard said, done his own twist on it, and it fucking worked. It hit the marker big time.
After many years, recently, I've watched Dawn of the Dead. I'm in halfway watching the second one, which is Day of the Dead. But it all has...
Dawn of the Dead's the second one. Night, Dawn and Day.
Yeah, Night, Dawn. So it all has that element of they're trapped in there and they have to go about the day, survive. So, I see that. That's for me, that's what essential is. Like, if a zombie apocalypse happens now, what do we do? Where do we need to go? So that's always like the key.
Let's all go hide in Gawick.
Perfect.
Exactly what
that's what I would do. Perfect.
I've tried to
walls all around the place. We'll be fine, mate. Absolutely fine.
But and I'm quite glad that it hasn't swayed away from, and like people like all the franchise love it as well. So
yes, I'm hoping that people saw this and went back to the originals.
Because the originals are epic films.
Oh, mate, come on. They're so good, aren't they?
A lot of the effects and the makeup is you look back and you think, it's a little bit cheesy, but it's still believable. Thoroughly believable.
Especially Day of the Dead's makeup.
Oh, yeah.
Joke at it.
You know what? The original Night spawned my most favourite line of all time.
What is it?
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Yes. I love it when he says it in Shaun of the Dead.
Oh, we're coming to get you, Barbara.
That's it, because his mum's called Barbara. I love how they do it. We're coming to get you, Barbara. So good. Nice pick, sir. That's number 3?
Number 3, yeah.
Howard, what's your number 3? Mr. Mark, number 3.
So, Mr. Mark, number 3 is Planet of the Apes.
Which one?
With Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah. Tim Burton's one. Yeah.
Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes. For all the reasons I have explained before, for some of the other choices, and I'm being hypocritical. They tried something new, but it didn't work.
I'm not gonna. I quite liked that film.
Oh my!
I'll be honest. I like the design of this one.
Oh yeah,
I like the design of it.
That they did get right. I absolutely agree with you on that one. But yeah, Mark Wahlberg, this wasn't believable, and some of the characterizations of the apes, they were good. But it just did not top the original.
No.
And
how could it though? There's no way it would have done.
I think I'm biased. I think because the ending of the original first film was so fantastic, and then they tried to do that.
He comes back and
I love that first movie. It's
Mark Wahlberg. He comes back to planet Earth, right?
Yeah, but how can you recreate that same? It was Earth all along. No. You can't, because they completely ruined it. Where Abraham Lincoln is an ape. I mean, it's just Abraham ape. I think that's what ruined it for me, was the ending, because they tried to do the twist, which had already been done. So
be honest, you kind of thought it was coming, though, didn't you? When you first watched it, right?
But you thought, how are they going to do it? You just thought, that was utterly underwhelming. Yeah, and I think that's what we're going to do for me. I usually like Mark Wahlberg, but he wasn't very good.
I mean, I'll be honest with you, right? So this is a very rare occasion. Like when where certain directors have certain styles or certain art styles, especially Tim Burton, for example.
Oh yeah,
very dark, very gothic sort of looking thing, right?
His look is always immaculate.
But I'll be honest, if I watched this not knowing he directed it, I wouldn't have thought it was him, to be honest.
Right, okay. His motifs are in there when you know to look for them.
Yes, exactly. Literally about to say that. Like some of the art style or some of the costume design, beg pardon, is very much like him. But flat out, I would not have thought that was a Tim Burton film straight out. But
apart from the ending, did you enjoy the other part of the film though? Like the whole when he lands?
I think the lead up to that.
I thought I enjoyed that. Bit.
Yeah, like I said,
obviously I'm going back a while ago. I watched it again.
Oh god, yeah, I'm trying to think of the last time I saw it. But there was parts where it was very well filmed, and some of it was retreading, and
the makeup.
Yeah,
Rick Baker's makeup for that film was really good. I mean,
Rick Baker, mate. I mean, you can't go wrong with him.
No way. Paul Giamatti plays. He's one of my favourite comedian actors. Paul Giamatti. He's in that. He plays like the human trafficker slave guy who sells them all. Him as an orangutan. Fucking the best pick ever, man. That was like when Alan Cumming was Nightcrawler. Best fucking casting ever.
Well, do you know what? Some people are just born to play that particular character or that particular type.
Definitely
that monster. But yeah,
who played Caesar?
Tim Roth.
It was Tim Roth. Yeah, it was Tim Roth.
I remember that.
No, he's not Caesar. Caesar's
no.
Not,
actually, let's have a look.
Because I remember the fight off with him.
Michael Clark Duncan's the big one.
Yeah.
Where they switched it over and
Michael
said,
Clark Duncan is at our... Paul Giamatti is Limbo.
There you go.
Tim Roth played a character called Thade.
That's it, yeah. And Helena Bonham Carter's in it as well.
I just remember
of course she is.
I just remember the fight scene between them near the end where he's like jumping around and stuff. And
he goes mental, doesn't he? Because he tries to beat up Mark Wahlberg, and then he gets the gun, and he doesn't know how to use it properly.
Yeah, that's it. To be honest,
but he was a cool character as well. Like Thade was like fucking badass.
I watched it not comparing it to the old film, knowing of it. But I remember coming back from the bus journey. Me and my mate, we watched it back then. We just enjoyed it. Well, obviously, I'll probably change my mind now watching it. But
I think, if you haven't seen the original and you're just watching this straight off the bat, then it's an enjoyable film. So I can't diss it too much, but when you talk about, and obviously I've created this list in order to say bad versus good, but when you're comparing it to the original it just does not live up to the
100%,
or to the legacy of the
original. It's a tough one to do because that first one is such a classic, and
it is. Yeah,
it's one of those ones I appreciate
so much.
Yeah, I appreciate that one more and more times I watch it. To be honest,
I think a lot of the recent sequels, as it were, because when you talk about the recent Apes films,
the prequel trilogy, isn't it?
They do exist in the same universe as Tim Burton's 2001 remake.
Oh, okay. No, does it?
It does. Yes. So I'm trying to think of another.
Because they show no, they don't. They don't. They reference that in the first sequel where there's a rocket flying off.
Is that what it?
Fuck right off! Are you telling me Mark Wahlberg's in that fucking rocket?
I've got
no way.
These again, but
I don't know if it's the Tim Burton ones or the old.
I gotta go and get my ape.
I don't know if it's him or someone said it might have been the original or film.
It's definitely canon to the originals as well, because you've got all the characters that travel over into it, and the history of Caesar, which they always talk about in the original as well.
I always assumed it was the Mark Wahlberg rocket going up, so I don't know.
I honestly didn't know that. I just thought it was a direct prequel trilogy to the original.
I could be talking complete bollocks. Let me go away and do my research properly.
Oh, do you know what? To be continued, folks.
Oh man, I thought you were going to open a can of worms and blow my mind.
I thought he was going to get a.
Oh
man,
so close.
So, what is the actual number 3, sir?
So the actual number 3 is The Birdcage.
Oh, I love that movie.
Yeah, and do you know what? So Robin Williams and Nathan Lane.
Nathan Lane's fantastic in that movie.
Do you know what? Outstanding. And it's one of those films I was initially resistant, not because of the content of the film, because I think the actual storyline is amazing. It just, at the time, it wasn't the sort of film that I was out to watch, and I was convinced to watch it. And absolutely, I love Robin Williams anyway.
Yes.
Nathan Lane is great, like you say. And Hank Azaria is in it. And,
of course he is, yes.
Lex Luthor, what's his name? Gene Hackman.
Gene Hackman, yes, of course.
So you got all these great actors who all made the film. Calista Flockhart, who's obviously the wife of the greatest actor ever known to man, Harrison Ford.
AKA
Indiana Jones.
What was that party?
I'm going to save the world with a whip.
Yeah, of course he is. He did several times. It wasn't a film that I would have traditionally sat down and watched at the time when it came out. But it blew my mind. I thought this is a great ensemble piece, and the action is amazing, and it's a great comedy.
Absolutely.
Tinged with a little bit of sadness, and
it's just a simple idea about just trying to like hide a certain aspect to it, isn't it?
That's it. And I think at its core, that's what it's about, and it tells a very, very definite, real sort of moral. It tells a moral, basically.
Yes, yeah.
Where don't hide who you are. This is who you are, and everybody will accept you eventually.
Exactly, yeah.
No matter
be proud of what you are.
Be proud of what you are, because no matter what anybody else's sort of philosophy on life is, but if you stay true to who you are, then yeah.
So basically, Robin Williams and Nathan Lane are gay. They own a club called the Birdcage. It's like a very famous.
I couldn't find it.
It's a very famous Miami club or something, isn't it? I can't remember.
I don't know whether it is. I'm not sure if it's actually a real club.
No. I mean, like in the movie. Sorry,
in the movie.
Sorry.
Yeah,
and basically, Robin Williams' son is getting married, and he doesn't want.
Well,
he doesn't want his girlfriend's parents to know that his father's gay.
Because they're very conservative.
Yes.
He doesn't want to ruin the coupling. And so Robin Williams goes all out in order to convince the partner's parents that he's a straight man.
Yes.
Nathan Lane is kind of like...
He's kind of the woman of the couple, of the two men. So Robin Williams spends the whole movie trying to man him up. So he can't hold a handbag like this, and he can't sip tea with a pinky going up and whatnot. And he tries to get it all like this and stuff like that. It's so fun, dude. It's such a silly concept, but it works.
It is, and it's brilliant.
Nathan Lane does it.
Nathan Lane,
so
and
well.
I'll tell you what, Hank Azaria as Agador.
Yeah. He is brilliant, man.
Yeah, brilliant from The Simpsons anyway. Obviously, he's the voice of The Simpsons. But yeah, I think he pulls out all the stops and puts in an absolutely amazing performance.
When did it come out?
94, 95, something like that?
No, it was a bit later than that.
Was it later than that?
I think... Stand by.
The Birdcage.
The Birdcage.
So, yeah. It's
Birdcage, one word.
Oh, no, you're right. 1996. And it's a remake.
96, I was close.
Yeah, it's a remake of a French film called La Cage aux Folles, which is basically the Birdcage. And good film, but I think this is one of those cases where, although that is considered a classic, this one absolutely surpassed it.
Yes. I mean, I've not seen the original personally, but I can't remember how I saw this movie. I think my mum watched it once, but not. And being loving Robin Williams from earlier Robin Williams films,
yes, of course,
I was just intrigued by it. And then again, I just love the whole scenario of like doing this and like I don't want to hide this from the world, son, or you know, but I will do this for you because I love you.
Yeah,
you know, it's the dad thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I say it's about a moral. It's not. It's about a love story.
Yeah,
it's about love.
Absolutely. Yeah.
What would you do for love?
There we go. And then obviously in the end they do find out whatnot, but how it comes about, and it's like Howard said about accepting who you are, whatnot. It's not a too bad situation, but it's just how they do it and how they hide what he is and all that. It's just brilliant.
It's done to very good effect.
Yeah.
Check it out. I love Robbie Williams.
It's a very under gem. Under gem. What's that? Underrated gem. That's the one I'm looking for. Of one of Robin Williams' characters. Everyone recognises from Mrs. Doubtfire, Good Morning Vietnam, all that sort of stuff, Aladdin. But no one ever talks about the Birdcage, and that is one of my favourites of Robin Williams. Yeah. It's just that's a very good pick, sir. I'm very surprised you picked that. Actually, nice, okay. Very nice. Number twos.
Number two.
So your number two's done, isn't it? Yeah. Which was The Mummy.
The Mummy. Yeah.
Right. So my number two is Dawn of the Dead.
Oh.
So I wasn't going to cut him because there's a few I wanted to say, but you've said most of it anyway for me. But again, this is where... So I'm coming from a person that absolutely adores George A. Romero's trilogy. And I remember when the trailer got announced, I never knew this movie was even in production or getting made at the time. There was always rumours, but it was never really like anything on concrete to say this is happening. And then when the trailer hit, I was... Okay, seems okay. It's not giving too much away, but you're getting the idea of like it's going to be in the mall still. That was my biggest worry, that they were going to change it completely. It was going to be like in an airport or something like that, whatnot. But
it could only work in the mall.
Exactly. And I was, and I sat in that cinema. I was prepared for the worst. I'll be honest, because it's an unknown director, his first time movie, and then Do you remember the opening to this movie at all?
She's in the hospital.
Yeah, and then
yes.
and then it kicks in with, "Come on, you want to get down with the sickness? You want to give up? You want to get down with the sickness?"
Oh, that's when she. That's the little like prologue, not prologue, like the credit sort of.
That's at the credits. Yeah.
Well, and it shows all the.
Oh no, sorry, that's the end. It's Johnny Cash at the beginning, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's a Johnny Cash song. Sorry, I was getting confused. But just how it sets the tone and. Did something else with it. It took, Zack Snyder took his own little spin to it. Have you seen the director's cut version of this at all? So the director's cut just adds a little bit more gore to it. It's not really anything extra to like change the movie at all. But this one, being a big fan of the original, I think this one, dealt with the characters a bit more in this one because you've got more characters in this one than the original did. There was only like 4 people in the original, wasn't there? Plus, this one is a whole group of people, isn't it?
The original was designed to showcase the zombies and the prosthetics and the FX and all of that sort of thing, and kind of more the survivalist element. But because it was made very recently, there's more focus on characterization.
Yeah, because you remember the original, we've got the whole beginning bit with the whole SWAT team going in and so doing all that. See, all that's not in this remake now, is it? It's literally just...
Doesn't need it.
Doesn't need it. Exactly. It literally goes from straight to when she's in the hospital. There's a sort of mention of a disease spreading. Like then her husband gets bit by this little girl. The only issue what it was that obviously this is going to territory where they're kind of infected in a way because again they get bitten within 10 seconds they are running around starting killing people, whereas in the originals they were ghouls, weren't they? Weren't called zombies, were ghouls, weren't they? And they were literally people that were
it was Romero that coined the term zombie.
There we go.
It didn't exist before them.
Very slow walking, very flesh eating and mindless, if you will, where these are just like when they're bitten they're full blown killer. I'm just going to go and start attacking the next best thing, whatnot. But somehow it worked. Because again, in fact, it's, in a way, it's more terrifying that something running at you than something slowly walking at you, isn't it? But when I was like experiencing it, here we go, they're bitten, they're going to start running, and then the thing was like I said, it worked. It got more intense and it got more quickly. No, shut the door! Come on, go, move! You were into it. Then you met new characters, and then you got to them all. You're like, here we go. This is where the meat and bone of the movie comes into it. And then there's all these other little stories that are playing into it, like the pregnant woman, like you mentioned, who gets bitten and, her child ends up being a zombie and whatnot.
And the little conversation between the guy on top of the gun shop.
Yeah. One of the greatest characters in this movie is actually a bad guy at the beginning. He's called CJ. Do you know if you remember it at all? He's one of the security guards in it.
Oh,
he is fucking brilliant. He carries that movie, man. He is so good in that.
He turns good.
That's what I'm saying. But you can understand why he's so uptight at the beginning because, again, you're invading his space. This is his, his home, and then these other people are coming in here invading it and making it their own. Yeah. So you can understand where he's coming from, and it works. And it builds up to him, and you ended up liking him. And like when he actually finally dies, and you're like, I kind of wanted him to sort of survive in the end. What's the other situation where that brilliantly shot part where they go in the car parking area, and there's this part where they're looking around and then they hear something, and obviously it's just the normal horror cliche. It's just a dog, isn't it? Yeah. And they're like, "Oh, come here, boy!" And then next minute, there's a zombie climbing on the ceiling with no legs, and also just jumps on someone from out of nowhere, scared the shit out of me. And I'm like, let's do this. This movie's fucking awesome. Let's go. This is a ride. And then getting in, there's so much more to it. Again, I don't want to go into spoiler territory too much, but
I was about to jump in.
I'm going to jump, please. Please.
The bus scene. I always.
Yeah, when they build the bus.
Yeah.
What's his name? That guy from Modern Family's in it as well. Phil Dunphy is in it.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, he's in it as well. He plays a badass character as well.
I was very surprised when they made this movie, and the reason being because the original. Let's start that conversation again, shall we? So the remake of Night of the Living Dead, which I think came out in about 94, 95.
Yeah, Tom Savini directed it.
Yeah. It was a good film. I appreciate it, but off the back of that, because it didn't hit anybody's radar.
Yeah.
And I just thought, that's great. They've remade Night of the Living Dead. So when they said we're going to remake Dawn of the Dead, I was like, wow, I'm quite surprised. But like you say, they pulled it out of the bag.
This is it, and it kind of ends on a cliffhanger, if you will, sort of thing. And then they never really did anything with it. So it's like one of those remakes that's there, but doesn't continue on.
No, self-contained story.
Yeah, I think they did do a Day of the Dead, but I think it was like a straight to TV sort of film, wasn't it, or something?
No,
or?
I think it hit the cinema, but
did it really?
It didn't gain traction like Dawn.
Oh wow, that's very surprising. Then
because they did all of the original trilogy, and then they extended beyond that with more of the was it Army of the Dead? Was it?
Yes,
variations.
So
of
what
the theme.
has Army of the Darkness or Dead? Has it got anything to do with Dawn?
No.
Completely different
No, no.
franchise.
I think it exists. No, it exists in the same world,
Okay.
but yeah,
Because that's the beauty with all these zombie films.
they don't relate to each other.
Yeah, they're not continuing on or anything, but with this one, it had a little cliffhanger. You think, okay, they might go with Day of the Dead, and so
each story is unique to that.
yeah. So you don't have to watch the trilogy ones.
The originals were the same.
Okay.
No characters were related to any other character in any other film.
It's the same with the Vengeance trilogy, the Korean one. There's
right,
three
okay.
three different films, but you don't need to watch them all. There's
yeah.
one separate thing. So this is number 2 because it is a prime example that I ate my own words saying that remakes are shit. They'll never surpass the original. Not saying this one has, but it is way up there, very close to the original, and just me eating my own words and giving it a go, giving it a chance. So that's why it's there. Your number 2's done?
Yeah, almost done.
Howard, what's your number 2 that missed the mark?
Missed the mark by a long shot, and I'm not really going to say a lot about it. Was the Karate Kid. Or the Judo Kid.
Is that the Will Smith?
That was the Will Smith.
It was Jackie Chan as Mr. Miyagi.
Jackie Chan. I mean, not even he could save the day. Jaden Smith, and I like Will Smith, but why on God's green earth did he insist on shoving his kid in every single flick that he possibly could?
No idea.
Because the guy is just not an actor, and isn't. I think.
Yeah. Even After Earth was abysmal, wasn't it?
I never watched it. Never watched it. But nothing against Jaden Smith. Nothing against Jackie Chan. I loved The Karate Kid growing up. It was an iconic film of the 80s.
Yes,
and when you
absolutely.
talk about films of the 80s, you talk about things like The Goonies, Ghostbusters, and Karate Kid. Oh man, what a pie! It was just poop.
Did you see it at the cinema, or did you?
No, thankfully I did
Thank
not
God for
spend
that.
any
Woo.
money on that pile of turd.
Yeah, I had to wait till the free rental at Blockbusters to watch that. I'm so fucking glad it was a free rental.
I mean, I can't. Do you know what? It was that bad. I can't sit here and pick out any part of the film to even diss it. Except
Just all of it.
Yeah, the whole thing. Except at the very end, where when Daniel does the crane kick,
Yes,
and he wins the competition, he's the man. I think they judoed the same scenario where he did something. It was called something ludicrous, like the snake dragon cobra kick, or something like that. Yeah, and mate, he just couldn't pull it off. And I'm not going to talk about it.
Yes,
anymore.
why?
Yeah, why? Why?
So the one that did hit the mark
Was the 2012 remake of Total Recall.
nice. Very, very close to my list. Sir.
Oh, okay.
Very, very close. I'm actually surprised I found someone else that does like this movie.
Do you know what? So Arnie is a god. He is a cinematic god, and the original Total Recall is one of the greatest science fiction films.
It's literally my favourite Arnie film of all time.
Okay. I love it a bit. It's one of those films I can sit down and watch all day long, any day.
100%.
I am also a very, very big fan of science fiction. And Philip K. Dick's story of We Can Remember It For You Wholesale, which is where this story came from, is an amazing book. I would encourage anybody to go out and read it.
Is it a short story of his? Or?
Essentially, it's a short story, yeah. It's not a film's length story. They elongated the plot for these two films. Both films take elements from this story. I would probably say that Arnie's version is closer to the original, where they go to Mars. Get your ass to Mars!
Get your ass to Mars.
That happens in the book.
Right.
Or a variation of it, shall we say. This one was very much Earth-based, and it's about two type of existing... I can't remember what the British... It's called something like
the Federation or something.
Federation of Great Britain or something,
Yeah.
or United Kingdom or something like that. And then you've got Europe and Australasia. So you've got, is it a gravity well?
Yeah, it's like between, it goes through the core of Earth, doesn't it?
That's right, and it's sending material from one end to the other because they're mining this material. The concept was different but the same. But this is one of the moments where they hit the mark because it's so different from the Arnie film. You couldn't recreate that Arnie film.
No.
You could not do that.
They tried to put little nods in, didn't they? From
there
the
were
Arnie
nods,
one,
there were nods. I think there was one scene where there was the when Arnie dresses up as the big fat woman with the ginger hair.
That's it.
She's in there, she's queuing, and she's saying the same thing. And there were little nods, and that was great for anybody that's a fan of the original. And Colin Farrell, who I don't normally like, he's not my go-to. But
really,
okay, yeah, I think he pulls off quite a good performance here. He's quite believable as Quaid. Again, hits the mark on this one.
I think both him and is it Jessica Biel? Well,
it is.
That's with him. She's really good in it as well. But I'm quite a big fan of the director Len Wiseman who did this.
Oh, okay.
Because he did obviously the first two Underworlds and then Die Hard 4, which I think is quite underrated personally. But the way he shoots this movie and some of the design work is very Philip K. Dick. I mean, you obviously know you'll see it sort of thing. And some of the little aspects he adds to it, just like for the mobile phone built into your hand and stuff like that. And some of the designs on the robots in this movie are phenomenal. And
I think it's
the gun design as well. Do you remember the one he shoots and it all shoots his little darts where it does a 3D scan of the room? How fucking cool is that, man?
And I like... You said you used my visionary. I like the vision of certain directors and writers. And the mobile phone in the hand. I mean, I think that shit is coming, mate.
Yeah, you know it, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it's little things like that when you tie them into a story. And you're a Star Trek fan.
Yes, yeah.
So when you look back at a lot of Star Trek, you think, we now have that.
Yeah.
You look at this film and this version of this film, you think it's not a million miles away from where we are. Whereas the Arnie one was totally futuristic.
Didn't Star Trek sort of have the first iPad in a series or something? I can't remember. I was
watching. So I'm currently watching. Well, I've just finished watching Strange New Worlds.
Oh, okay,
like the prequel to Kirk's Trek,
right?
And I was educating my partner on basically the fact that they did create the iPad, or the idea for the iPad.
That's right, yeah. That's crazy. You know it's coming.
Yeah, I watched Total Recall, both of them. I think a lot of people panned the Total.
I just know what I
did. Yeah,
I loved it.
Again, me and my wife really liked the Arnie one, so we saw this in cinema, and I just like Dawn of the Dead. I was waiting for something bad to happen, and it didn't. I thoroughly enjoyed this one.
Yeah.
Even from Bryan Cranston's wig, I didn't mind it. It wasn't too bad. But action-wise, story-wise, it had all from the go straight. And it doesn't stop. Kate Blanchett is a badass in this movie.
She is, and I love Kate Blanchett.
Oh my god. Beckinsale. Kate Beckinsale. Sorry, not Blanchett. Kate Beckinsale.
Oh yes, of course you do.
Sorry, I keep getting it wrong. Kate Beckinsale is because again, straight from Underworld. She's gone from because her husband is Len Wiseman, so he's obviously hired her to do this, and she doesn't stop, man. She goes after Colin in this movie so fucking much, and it's literally to the end. She doesn't die until the very end, but good God, I mean, it's so good, man.
It's not a great movie, but it is good. It's
underrated in my opinion.
It's underrated. You sit down, you eat your popcorn, you drink your beer, and you can just
have a fun with it.
Immerse yourself in this movie. Yeah.
Yeah, I think because. Do you think it's a case that people are just diehard fans of Arnie's one?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, because there are certain films when you talk about them. So let's take Arnie as an example. When you talk about Terminator, you can't remake it. Oh, all right, Cameron did it with Terminator 2. That's one of the very few exceptions to the rule. But when you look at an Arnie film and you try to remake the idea of what that was, it's hard. It's very difficult. Yeah, that's exactly why it was slated by a lot of critics.
I remember watching it. I was just like, I don't know what it was. A couple of weeks later, and everyone was like panning it. I just sat there. Well, wow! Even the twists as well. That I was like, oh, this is so awesome. Like, I love this. But I was just confused why people didn't like it.
Because John, who's obviously on here, or JK47 as we say it here, he only watched it last year with me, I think it was. He'd never seen it. He was like pretty much what Howard said, just sit down, relax, leave your brain at the door, just actually enjoy a movie. And he fucking loves that movie, man. Good shout, very good pick.
I mean, there are, when you sit and you watch it and you can still hear Arnie in the background, screw you, Benny.
Yeah. Hey, man, I got 5 kids to feed. Baby, you made me wish I had 3 hands. Which she does pop up in, doesn't she?
Yes.
Does she? In the new one?
In the new one, the free titty lady. Yeah. He wants to watch it now, look.
I need to watch these two as well now.
But yeah, guys, Pixar. Let's do the final ones, guys.
It's number 1.
Come on, hold my hand. Say it with me. You ready? 3, 2, 1.
Mine's completely different. You're not going to.
No, right. Mine's The Thing.
No, I didn't pick it purposely.
No, mine is.
But
The
it
Thing.
would have been.
But it would have been. Let's say it together. Ready? The Thing.
The Thing.
So mine's The Thing. That was fucking obvious from the start. We even hit the record button. This is one of my favourite movies of all time. I've mentioned it on this podcast countless times. I'm not going to go into it again. Everyone knows that it's, one of the greatest sci-fi horror films of all time. Effects still stand up to this day, and builds the tension from start to finish. I don't really want to go too much in it because, again, spoiler territory as well. But bunch of guys in a camp, get infected by an alien, and it's literally a case of who is who, or who goes there, if you will. And pretty much, it's just nowhere near like the original at all, is it, Howard?
No, absolutely not.
Like, again,
for me,
is it 50s?
It was 50s, yeah, no, 50s.
50s, and it's called The Thing from Another World, which, funny enough, still has the same title screen as the original, didn't it?
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, they deliberately did that.
Was it deliberate? I wasn't sure if that was the case,
yeah. It was deliberate.
But how creepy is just that 2-word title, The Thing?
Yeah.
It
conjures up anything in your head, doesn't it?
it literally is anything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I mean, it's like when Alien was first announced. I mean, it had different titles. I think one of the first titles was Star Beast. But how is that one word Alien just intimidating? It's just it's there. It's freaky.
But it's the way it's presented. So
100%.
The letters flip around, and in The Thing, like you say, with the.
Doesn't it burn on the screen?
It does.
Yes.
It sort of flames up from the guy's face.
I always feel like someone's flamethrowing it to the title when it just goes.
That's very possible.
That's what it feels like for me.
But yeah, it's one of my favourite movies of all time. It's in my top 10. Always will be. It'll be hard to top. And again, it wasn't until I started studying movies and whatnot to find out this actually was a remake. I thought this was straight out the bat a original idea, a movie. Not to know that it was a Howard Hawks movie from 1956, I believe, 55, one of the two.
You can't go wrong with it. It's John Carpenter, it's Kurt Russell.
And John Carpenter at his finest.
At his finest, yeah. And Rob Botting, who,
of course.
The stuff that guy did with those special effects was absolutely game-changing.
By far, man. And how they've never done it to this day again since. It's like, 41 years old, this movie is, and still holds up. The same age as me, 41 years old. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah. I watched it first time ever, and I didn't know nothing about it. And that moment where that helicopter's chasing the dog and shooting
helicopter,
and you're just like, I was glued from that moment, and with the sound like, dun-dun. If no one has watched it, I guarantee you, as soon as you see that scene and that soundtrack hit, you'll just be like, what the hell's going on?
This guy here, when he introduced his brother to the thing, right? He put him through the prequel first.
Oh no! Why did you do that?
I don't know. I thought it's a sensible thing to do.
So with the whole thing with the dog was all he knew it was coming. He knew it was coming, mate.
It's like Star Wars. You watch the middle three and then you watch the first three.
That's it.
True. That is true. I don't know what I was thinking. I apologise.
So I made it very short but sweet because I mentioned this so many times in this podcast.
Yeah.
People probably get tired about me talking about this movie, but it is one of those classics that I cannot deny. It has to be my number one. Gal. It would have been The Thing. What is it? What is your new one?
It's nowhere near to that level, right?
Okay.
But I just completely avoided it because
you knew I was going to throw it in. Yeah.
And also it was another horror film, basically.
Okay.
So I just didn't want to chuck that in there. It's King Kong.
Peter Jackson's.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, not trying to say King Kong is better than The Thing, but it's just
for the purpose of not clashing with someone. That's why you've done it. Yes, that's fine.
This one is what not. It's up there because purely, everyone. When you think of cinema or movies, you think of King Kong, and then I think
it's a staple of cinema, King Kong, isn't it? So
it hasn't been done, I think, since a while.
Well, they did Kong Skull Island, didn't they?
There was the. Howard, help me out. Is it 80s or 70s, the Jeff Bridges version?
Jeff Bridges was mid-80s, I think.
Mid-80s.
Yeah.
So we had a remake, so then Peter Jackson's was the third remake of it. But then after that was Skull Island and whatnot that you mentioned, Howard, yeah.
So for me, this is the first time hearing of King Kong, but for me, seeing it in the cinema first time, as in, watching it first. For me, this is my King Kong, basically, whereas previous people had their King Kongs. and I was just mind blown. And
it's kind of interesting how you put it there, how that's your King Kong.
Everyone's got a generation.
But this is what I'm saying. Everyone has
like
a version of him. Like mine is obviously the original, but some people had the
I
Jeff
stand
Bridges
corrected. The Jeff Bridges Jessica Lange version was 1976.
So there you go, 76.
And then there was one in the 80s, and I'm trying to think of who was in that one, because that was the one that I saw first, the 80s one.
I can't remember.
So we all know that King Kong's meant to be on the Empire State Building, isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
But obviously, the remake in the 70s, we had the two towers, the Twin Towers at the time. He stands on that instead because it was a higher building, wasn't it?
Yeah. So it was called King Kong Lives. And it was Linda Hamilton who was the main character.
No way!
Yeah.
Wow.
Sarah Connor herself.
Sarah Connor,
wow.
before she was Sarah Connor.
Damn.
But there we go. Like, it's very interesting how you say that's my King Kong.
Yeah.
This is my King Kong. Yeah. So sorry, carry on. Peter Jackson's King Kong.
Yeah, and I just are fascinated about King Kong and see what the actual story. I know the basic of, but to see Peter Jackson's version and go.
Sorry, how's
Go on. Jay, I'm really sorry.
Go on.
I've got to throw this in there. So the plot line for this is King Kong lies in a coma for 10 years and needs a blood transfusion to facilitate a heart transplant. When a giant female ape is brought to help revive him, he manages to escape with her.
No fucking way.
He's a load of old toss.
No way. Are you serious?
Yeah, seriously.
Oh my God.
Anyway,
I've never even heard of that version.
No.
Sorry, carry on, Jane. I was throwing him off now.
No, for me, I loved King Kong, and then one moment that really got me. I was, I don't want to talk about the story. What happened.
Everyone knows what King Kong is, so yeah.
But the moment where they actually go into the jungle and there's these people who are it's warding you. What's his name? What's the actor? Jack Black. I think he's taking them. The group of
he's making
back.
a movie, isn't he? Yes, yeah.
And you get all these barbarian sort of people or just
it's like the actual people that the indigenous and
you see the first reveal of King Kong and you're like, shit's about to go down. And I thought it was just a case of them and then King Kong and then somehow they'd trap him. And then they introduced the T-Rex, and that bit I did not see coming.
It's a V-Rex in that movie.
Yeah,
a V-Rex.
Yeah.
But that was an element of the original film.
Yeah, I was literally about to say that. Yeah.
I didn't expect that. I thought it was about these group of people just going to capture King Kong, take him back.
So that is one of my favourite scenes in this movie.
So
like
good.
Howard said, that was a nod to the original. He goes against a T-Rex, and it's only one though in the original. But there's a very famous scene when he defeats the Rex.
Right.
He rips the jaw.
Does he do this whole?
So he moves the head to moves the head. That's in the original. So when he does it in that was a nod to that. But good God, that fight scene with 3 V-Rexes,
and he has to save the girl.
and hold a woman at the same time. You can tell Peter Jackson was a fan of this of Kong. I think in all fairness, I think that was one of these movies he's always wanted to make. And obviously, when he did the Lord of the Rings trilogy, they were just throwing money in him. Like, here, go make something. Whatnot.
Someone said that he did this. He had to do this in order to get his sort of say grant access for him to do Lord of the Rings. Is that
no.
Okay.
So he did this. So he actually went to the studio first to ask to do Kong first.
Okay.
And they said, no, here's Lord of the Rings. If you do that and do well, then you get to do this.
Okay. So he didn't want to do Lord of the Rings
because Universal Pictures owns the rights to Kong. He's part of the movie Monsters. Okay. But whereas Lord of the Rings was New Line Cinema.
Right. Okay.
So they were like, if you do well with this, we'll throw you some money, and then you can do this epic.
Awesome.
Then.
Yeah. Even
it's a bit like he did.
Yeah.
Well, no, because his background was horror films, so no one would give him.
Oh, what was that one that he did? Was it Brain Dead?
Brain Dead.
That's like a parody.
Which is one of the.
It is a parody, but it's so gruesome.
Brain Dead's one of the best films he's ever did.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, Brain Dead, Frighteners, Bad Taste, Meet the Feebles were all very obscure horror films where no one's going to give him another project, and then all of a sudden they give him Lord of the Rings.
And he knocks it off the park.
Oh,
good God, did he ever? Yeah. But anyway, that's how he got the Kong film.
And I'm pleased he did, because I can watch that the thing is, because I watched it so many times, I would have probably watched the whole film. But for me, if Kong's on the telly or something, I will sit down and wait for that fight segment.
I do like how...
Not saying that the rest of the film is trash.
No, not at all. But I do like how Peter gave Kong a bit more emotion to this. Like, especially the ending where... Have you seen the remake, Howard?
Yeah.
So, obviously, when he's on the tower and he gets shot, everyone knows how, Empire State Building, beg your pardon. And then how him and the woman have...
Some sort of bond.
Something, it's not love or whatever, but it's something's there. And then when he looks at her before he falls, there's, everyone in that cinema went dead quiet and was like, wanting to shed a tear or feel something. And I love how they, because in the original it was just, it's the creature, let's get him, let's kill him, whatever. You feel for Kong in this version, and that's another reason why I kind of liked it as well.
He has that little moment in the
on the ice rink, yes,
yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, it's a brilliant film. I can talk here.
Have you seen the director's cut?
No.
No? Should watch it. It's good.
They're good.
Yeah.
It's
like 20 minutes added to it, dude. It's quite good, yeah. But I remember when the first ever trailer came out for this movie, and it was in June of 2005, because it was coming out for Christmas that year. And everyone saw the trailer, and the visual effects were bad. Like the original design for Kong wasn't up to standards. I think you can still see it on YouTube.
Okay.
I might send you a link for it. But I remember when they had that, and then they had 6 months to redesign and re-go every shot of Kong and change his design. And obviously Andy Serkis was in it. He obviously he's doing motion capture for Kong. He had to go back and redo every shot and scene as well. So
that's nuts.
Imagine doing that in 6 months.
Jeez.
And just getting out in time. It's a lot of work for him at the end of the day. But he managed to pull it off, and it's a good...
Do you remember a film called Congo?
Yeah, I fucking love Congo.
Now, do you remember the intelligent ape that was in Congo?
Amy, bad ape, gorilla.
Now, did Serkis do the original mocap for that?
Because
he's always done that, hasn't he?
Yeah.
As well as being an amazing actor, he's always done mocap as a primate.
I know Stan Winston did the suit, but I don't know if Andy Serkis was underneath it or not.
I'm going to have to wrap my brains around. Serkis did something long before Gollum, where he was mocap for an ape in a film, and I can't remember what it was.
That could be it.
Yeah,
it might well be it. Might have to look up. It's such a guilty pleasure for me, Congo.
Oh, Congo.
It's a shit film, but it's brilliant.
Bruce Campbell.
He is at the beginning, yes, that's right, yeah. Bruce Campbell, Ash himself. You never seen Congo?
No.
Mate, it's fun. It's fun. It's not brilliant. It's not brilliant, but
it's not brilliant. No, but it's a good film. It's a good film. Yeah.
Michael Crichton.
Is it like
it is, yeah.
Like a King Kong type of?
No,
far from it.
Watch the trailer, and we'll go from there.
So
King Kong number one.
Number one, yeah.
Very good pick, sir. Howard number one. Missed the market. Beg your pardon.
Missed the mark. The Wicker Man.
Oh, fucking hell. Did it ever.
Now, I would like to point out that I tried very hard.
This is the Nick Cage version, right?
The Nick Cage version. To not put any horror on this list. And you put like 4 films on there, man.
I had two.
I had two. Okay, all right. So, The Wicker Man, would you call it horror? I don't know. The original with Edward Woodward.
Yes.
Creepy as hell. Very atmospheric. Very, very atypical 70s sort of British horror. So claustrophobic. Everybody's looking over their shoulder. And it's your classic, without ruining it, it's your classic sort of pagan... cultist type film. Brilliant stuff.
It's like the 70s Midsummer.
Yes, exactly. Well, it's set on Samurai, wasn't it? The name's very similar. And I don't know if G's seen it.
Probably not.
I won't spoil the end then. The end is similar in the remake. Now, I absolutely adore Nick Cage. If you put Nick Cage in a film, I'll watch it. Yeah. And I'll love it because I love Nick Cage because he's absolutely amazing. Even Ghost Rider. Yeah, mate. Not
the bees!
He goes, the bees. Oh no, not the bees. The bees.
They're in my eyes.
I was suffering that film until that point. I mean, I know it was like right at the very end. I thought, this is a pile of poo. And I just went and rewatched the original.
Yeah. So I think it's 60th anniversary, the original.
60 years
60 years old?
50 years, is it? Something like
Something like that, so
Yeah, we're not far off. If you want to watch an excellent non-standard horror film, go and watch The Wicker Man, the original.
The original, yeah.
The original with
With
Edward Woodward and
Christopher Lee.
Christopher Lee. And Britt Eklund. Yeah, brilliant stuff.
I'm guessing this.
Oh no! Oh Jesus Christ! Oh my God! Christ! It's an eye opener. The first one, big time.
The first one, yeah. The second one,
1973.
Yes, that's it. Yeah,
Cool.
73. Yeah. So 60 years. No, 50 years. I beg your pardon. 50 years. 50. Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. But no,
but the Nick Cage one, dude, don't even bother, man.
It's a phoned in performance.
Unless you want to see him kick children. He literally kicks a kid out of the way.
If that's your sort of thing, then there's a lot for you to enjoy. But no, the bees scene is what finished it off for me. And I was like, I've lost interest. I think I went to another room, did something else.
You know, I feel sorry for everyone who was in that cinema watching that.
Yeah, imagine going to the cinema.
Good God. But yeah.
Jesus Christ.
What hit the mark then, sir?
Gone in 60 seconds.
Whoa! On my honourable mention, sir. Well done.
So Nicolas
Cage.
And that was deliberate.
Good shout.
I did not know that was
It's a remake. I fucking love that movie. Very close to my list, sir.
Now, the original film, it follows a similar plot. There are elements that have been changed, but this came out, I believe it was the same year as Fast and Furious.
It was, yes.
It was the same year.
Yes, it was, yeah.
Now, whilst everybody was raging on about Fast and Furious, and yes, it's gone on to spawn 16,000 sequels, and Vin Diesel's now a mega superstar, and etc., etc., etc. And I have a guilty pleasure with Fast and Furious. Gone in 60 Seconds was the film for me at the time.
Yes.
It was the film of the year as far as I was concerned.
Maybe.
I was very heavily into my cars. Nick Cage could do no wrong. Angelina Jolie looked absolutely gorgeous.
Vinnie Jones
acted his heart out without actually acting. It was amazing.
It's very much Ocean's 11 with cars, if you will.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Building the team up and doing the heist.
The ensemble.
I've watched it. Just remind me, the 60 seconds is like the end of the film. Is that motor scene on the motorway? On the bridge? Is that what the 60
where he jumps all of the cars in?
Yeah, the 60 seconds isn't anything to do with the film. That's just a saying that, you know.
No, because it's
they can hack a car in 60 seconds.
Yeah, thieving cars, and they have to steal so many in one night in order to fulfill an order for Nicolas Cage's brother, who's, I think it's Giovanni
Ribisi, yeah.
He gets into deep shit with Christopher Eccleston, pre-Doctor Who.
The Carpenter.
What a villain. And so he has to get his old crew together because he used to be a car thief back in the day, the most famous car thief of all time.
Famous, yeah.
Memphis Reigns. He's warned away from his mum. No, I don't want you to go back to that lifestyle, but my brother's in too deep, so he has to rescue his brother. And they just about kind of do it. And there's this big face-off with Chris Eccleston at the end. But yeah, what a film, man.
The car chase scene is very underrated in this. The very end one with the 1967 Shelby Mustang.
Yeah.
Eleanor, yes. I love that car chase scene, dude.
That's my Eleanor.
It's such a good scene. I remember seeing that in the cinema for the first time, and I was just like, where has this movie come from? I mean, it was advertised, but this is next level. I thought, personally, I prefer this to Fast and Furious.
Yeah, I do.
100%. I love the characters more. Yeah. I love the team build and whatnot.
Furious is a great film, but
by far
it's pre Fast and Furious. Though.
Yes, it's before it. Yeah.
Well, that was the same year, wasn't it?
Same year, but it was months before. I think this was June, and then Fast and Furious was October.
Can't remember. So, it from my mind.
So yeah, because I remember the kids started going in speed racing in the B&Q car park afterwards. That movie. But gone in 60 seconds, man. I mean, I remember seeing that in the big screen in Crawley, and when that Shelby Mustang fucking rooms in that scene. And the way she spins past the camera, it's so many good shots. And when the other car gets smashed through a wall with the boulder thing, do you remember that part?
Yeah. Timothy Oliphant goes, "Are you okay? Because you just went through a wall."
He's like, "Are you okay? Yeah, I'm all right. Are you sure? Because you just went through a wall." Timmy Oliphant, fantastic. I love him. Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. What's that? Oh bloody hell! That's gonna bug me now. But yeah,
and an amazing soundtrack as well.
I was literally about to come to that. One of the first soundtracks I ever bought was that fucking movie.
It was, yeah, me too.
Loads of great songs in that. Groove Armada, BT, and all that. Oh my god, man! Just the list.
Just listen
You
to
talking
it
about
over
music,
and over
man?
again.
Just you need to come on the soundtrack episode. It'd be fucking awesome.
Fine. Yeah, we'll do that. Yeah.
But yeah, you've seen.
I've seen it. It's been ages ago.
Oh, good
ages.
shout.
Great
Again,
film.
it was very close on my list, and I took it out last minute.
I say an early. It was one of Jerry Bruckheimer's sort of epitomal films.
One of his last ones, wasn't it, for
I
a
think
while?
so, yeah.
Because he stopped. No, until 2003. So 3 years later, he did Pirates, didn't he? After that,
That's what he did. Yeah, and he went off in a slightly different direction. But he sort of slowed down doing because Nick Cage was his style, wasn't he? And he did The Rock and Con Air and all that sort of thing, which are all great films. But this one, I was big on my cars at the time. I still am, but this sort of hit home for me. And
good shout, sir.
Thank
Good
you.
shout, sir. Do you know what? I might go watch this movie after we're done here. I really do like that movie. But yeah, again, there was another one where at the time when it came out, I didn't know it was a remake. Again, looking into my research and stuff.
And that's it. And it's only post watching it, and like I said to you, I get big on IMDb, and I'll just go and research the hell out of something that I thoroughly enjoyed. And it was only then that I discovered that, in the 70s, it was an original film. And I think the original film was very famous for, at the time, the biggest car smash pile-up ever captured on screen.
Right, okay.
The plot was thin. The acting was even thinner. And it starred nobody. But, it clearly hit a point with something because it went on to spawn this amazing remake.
It's such a good movie. Do you remember the trailer when this came out?
Vaguely.
So, when this movie came out, there was like it'd be like a car thing, and
wasn't it ticking?
And it was ticking, and then a woman would narrate the time it took you to buy your movie ticket, 5 minutes 30 seconds. Time it took you to buy your popcorn, 2 minutes 30 seconds. Time it took them to steal your car, 60 seconds. And then it would kick in the trailer. Fucking hey, how cool is that, right? That is that's how you do a trailer.
Yeah,
so good. I have so many memories of this movie, man.
What was that whole trailer for 60 seconds? Then?
Yeah, again, watch on YouTube. It's such a great way to do it. And this is why I miss movie trailers, how they used to do it then, and they've kind of lost their way now. They do it to sort of like a cover to a song nowadays, or they do the typical Hans Zimmer in trailers now. But just that little idea, have the little narrator and be like, oh, how long it took them to steal your car? 60 seconds.
it was good.
So good. Went with the movie. Good pick, sir. Fucking A. I think we have to do honorable mentions. Do you have any at all? Or?
I must confess, on this occasion, I've dropped the ball a little bit because I was so.
That's my fault because we tried to do it last minute because of certain someone.
Was it just me?
But hey, we still got to do the episode.
If you guys do yours, and I will conjure some up out of thin air.
All right, I'll do mine very quickly. So, Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
Oh yeah,
with Daniel Craig again.
Yeah.
RoboCop.
I'd say no. I nearly put this on this list.
I quite enjoyed it personally.
It was good. Yeah,
because
different spin.
Yeah, because when you watched the original with Peter Weller, right? You must have been quite young to watch it, right? Like I was like...
Oh, yeah, I was far too young to watch it.
Yeah, same as. And it was badass for you, wasn't it? It was a guy walking as a fucking robot killing people, right?
Yeah.
Whereas they've kind of done the same sort of thing for kids' generation, obviously without the violence as much in this one.
I've toned it down.
But if I was a 12-year-old watching this remake...
Oh, I see what you mean.
Do you know what I'm saying? Okay. I'd be all over it.
Yeah,
this is the greatest movie ever made. And I was like, oh, my God. Total Recall, you've already mentioned. Yeah. War of the Worlds, Tom Cruise.
Oh, yeah, okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
The Departed.
Yeah, that's the one I was shocked about.
It's based on Infernal Affairs, the Chinese film.
Yeah.
True Grit.
Oh, right.
Which was the remake of... Is it John Wayne?
It's John Wayne. Yeah, he's Rooster Cogburn, isn't it?
And this one's with Jeff Bridges and the Coen brothers, isn't it? Heat is a remake.
It is.
Ben-Hur is a remake.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, controversially, it is. Yeah.
Very controversially. I have a few others here, but Little Shop of Horrors.
I nearly put that on there.
You nearly put on there.
Yeah.
That's Cape Fear's another one.
Cape Fear. It's funny, when I was putting this list together, my partner said Cape Fear's got to be on there. I said, yes.
Again, it's another one I wasn't aware it was a remake 2 years later.
Oh, yeah, the Robert Mitchum. I mean, the original was absolutely outstanding.
Yeah, exactly. I have a few others, but they're pretty much horror films. So, again, we'll save that for the horror movie episode.
Would Dune go in that list?
Technically, yeah. Yeah, or is it a reboot? June. I'd say it's a reboot.
Would you say that this is closer to the original story, the Frank Herbert's original?
The Denis Villeneuve one definitely is, yeah.
I did think about it myself. Let's call it a reboot.
We'll say reboot, that one.
We'll call it a reboot.
Go on your reboot list.
Yeah. No, that
was it?
I don't have
no? Any others? No? You think of the top of your
I
head?
think it'll be a long list. You've mentioned a lot, but I think it'll be a long list of horror films.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll save that for
which we'll save for another
I mean,
list.
like, I tried to put not too many in there. I had to put those two in there because they're how they were to me.
No,
so,
look, hey, it's a personal thing.
But I won't put those in the horror one because I put them in this one. So it'll be a completely different top 5.
So I would have put the thing on the list. Although it's not a number one for me, I would have.
But it would have been on the list regardless.
Yeah.
So
I'm glad you did, though.
What's that?
I put the thing in
Yeah,
there.
it deserves. It belongs there. Absolutely.
Guys, thank you so much for that.
Pleasure.
No, thank you.
No, I insist, guys. Thank you so much for that. So we'll end it there, guys. Guys, if you like what you listen to, follow us on Facebook at the M.T.V.B Podcast, or on Instagram at M.T.V.B Podcast, or on TikTok at M.T.V.B Podcast 197. I'm your host, Anthony, followed by
Gal, a.k.a. Grey Fox.
H.
the man with the 2 lists. Guys, thank you, Howard, for coming on. G, as always. Thanks for turning up, mate. Really appreciate it. Thank you very much, guys.
Wow.
Good night.